4, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. We are ready to rip into a Thursday show. Hope you are as well. And we got a big one lined up for you today. I'm not going to give you the whole rundown right now, but I am just going to tell you Rocco will be in the house before it's all said and done. Looking forward to it. Awesome. Let's go. Top stories and trending. Let's start off there.
Number 5.
A special legislative session started yesterday to discuss changes to the state's tax system. That session will be focused on rebuilding the outdated tax system, growing the economy, according to the governor's opening remarks. It will run through November 25th. Governor Jeff Landry said he hopes the session will amend tax law at the state and local levels, pass some legislation along the way as well regarding corporate franchise and income taxes, as well as passing legislation that will increase the standard deduction amount applied against income tax for those who are above the age of 65. All in, the governor put 23 items in the call.
Number 4.
A Baton Rouge man was arrested yesterday after allegedly shooting at a group of juveniles he believed had burglarized a vehicle at his residence, wounding one. 27-year-old Asanta Green was arrested on counts of attempted first-degree murder and illegal use of a weapon in connection with an October 14th shooting on his property in the 800 block of Stony Creek Avenue. Green was identified as the shooter after a thorough investigation, according to the news release.
Number 3.
Department of Children and Family Services urges all EBT cardholders to change their PIN after multiple skimming devices were discovered at retail locations across the state. DCFS will send text alerts directly to EBT cardholders, urging the users to change their PINs. As a result, they urge cardholders to update their PIN every 30 days anyway. Local and federal authorities have been notified. They are investigating the incidents.
Number 2.
As the December 7th general election, the runoff, approaches, it is important to remember the deadline to register to vote in person, by mail, or at the OMV office is Wednesday, basically a week from yesterday, while registration through the Go Vote online registration system is due November 16th. That's a week from Saturday. This deadline only applies to those who have never registered to vote, as well as voters who would like to make changes to their registration. By the way, it's a quick turnaround here. Early voting for the December 7th election starts on November 22nd, runs through Saturday, November 30th, excluding Sunday, November 24th, and Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th, of course, the Thanksgiving holiday.
Number 1.
Think Donald Trump won't shut down the border again? Ask Hurricane Rafael. Yep, it's off our radar at this point. Still in the Gulf of Mexico, but it's taken a wicked turn and just make its way into Mexico. What was, if you asked us 2 days ago, what was a path that was headed towards Louisiana is now headed south of the border. Right now, Rafael, with 105 mile per hour winds, is in the Gulf, but it is basically turned to where it's headed due west at this point. So as of now, it looks like we're done with it, and I'm happy about that. All right, John, what you got trending this morning?
All right, well, Kamala Harris said Wednesday that we must accept the results of this election as she encouraged supporters to continue fighting for their vision of the country after her loss to Donald Trump.
Kind of had to, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there's no room to argue an election anymore.
Right.
Because you can't go around calling one party an election denier for 4 years after your party denied the election the previous 4 years. After Hillary Clinton lost, there was a whole lot of election denying going on. Donald Trump loses, there's a whole lot of election denying going on. Well, if you're going to spend 4 years railing on somebody for being an election denier, yeah, no qualms, no challenges, no nothing.
Yeah.
You basically got to say, hey, we have to accept it.
And one would say, like, she should have probably came out that night and said that.
You know what?
But
I spent a good chunk of yesterday mulling whether or not I was angry about that.
Right.
At the end of the day, she wasn't my candidate, so I don't care.
Right.
But
even just for the supporters who were, you feel for them.
Yes,
you
and that's exactly who I'm talking about here. Is you feel for the people who were in the room saying, we put our hearts and souls into your candidacy, and you're saying, go home and go to bed?
Right.
Come on out and tell us good night.
Yeah.
At least just give us that.
Not even you, your spokesperson.
Something.
Someone from your team is telling you, hey, go home.
Yeah.
She'll address it in the morning.
It's like that scene from, Coming to America. The wedding will commence in 30 days. Go home. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah. The vice president will be back tomorrow to concede. Go home. Good night.
And, of course, keeping things political, the blame game is in full force, as you know. It's virtually impossible to keep up with all the articles speculating on why Kamala Harris lost the presidential race in the first place. So,
and you know what? Of every one of them that I've read, and I mean, I probably read about a dozen or so yesterday.
yeah.
But of every one of them that I read, nothing talked about the candidate herself. Nothing said the Democratic Party put forth a candidate that when she was on the ballot in a primary, nobody voted for her. None of those articles said bad candidate.
Yeah. Man. And less political news. No, it's not. Baton Rouge rapper Torrance Boosie Hatch wasted no time to take to Twitter to ask President-elect Donald Trump Wednesday to pardon him for a gun charge he was indicted on earlier this year. Well,
Good for
wipe
him.
me down.
Yeah,
Man.
Good for him. He wants to talk bleep. He wants to run his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know
What
what?
do you think about this? Huh?
This is one of the things that I missed about the Trump presidency was that sideshow piece of it.
Yes.
Remember when Donald Trump was on his way out and Joe Biden was on his way in, and the Tiger King thought he was going to get pardoned?
Yes. For some reason or another, he just thought, well, I'm
got
good
himself.
now.
He was looking out of his jail cell into the parking lot in a limo, and no pardon. There's something about like this sideshow that it's not. You're not running main character vibes,
Right.
and yet here we are. He's not even in yet,
Right.
and Boosie's like, "Hey, you can hook me up."
Yeah. It's great.
611 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to break, come back, talk sports in just a second. Coach Brian Kelly was at the SEC Coaches Teleconference yesterday. We'll have some audio from there. Might be able to squeeze in a highlight or two of LSU men's basketball as they got their season underway officially. Before we take that break, though, I want to remind you, big game coming up this Saturday. Might need to stop by Mathern's along the way. If you're hopping from tailgate to tailgate, Mathern's has got you covered. Stop in for a couple of cold ones. Stop in for, you can grab yourself some jambalaya. Hit up the deli counter. Get you a whole tray of sandwiches to bring to your next tailgate stop. Whatever it is, Mathern's has got you covered. And if you've got the Mathern's Rewards app, you're earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. And if you're a student, faculty, or staff member at LSU, bonus 10% off coupon in your email every single day. That at lsu.edu email address, Mathern's is going to get you connected for a 10% off coupon on top of the rewards you earn every single day at Mathern's. And I forwarded you all the highlights from the basketball game. Yeah, I didn't listen to the basketball game, so I don't know what's good. But I'm sure the final call is in those highlights. That's all I want.
Yep, final call.
Nope, don't see the final call. Okay, let me do this then.
Oh, I got it.
Final call?
Let me play it for you just to.
Okay.
Is it playing on your?
Hmm?
It's in queue, but I don't freaking hear it. Yeah, I can hear it in my headphones, but for some reason it's not coming to the board.
Is the knob turned up on the board?
Yeah, it's all the way up.
All right.
Weird.
I'll grab a different one other than the scene setter. 616 Talk 1073 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, it's LSU Bama week, and it's been a bit of different vibe for an LSU Bama week. It's normally Bama hate week, and there's a lot of vitriol out there. Zippy's has their signs out, that's to be sure. Zippy's over on Perkins Road, and they're always a winner. Absolutely, love that. But that level of intensity, that level of anxiety of having Nick Saban coming into Tiger Stadium or us going to play Nick Saban over there, that it's a little bit different this year. It's a little bit calmer, a little bit more, hey, we're going to go out and play a good football team, but we're a good football team type of vibe. And Coach Brian Kelly was asked in the SEC Coaches Teleconference how things look different playing against Kalen DeBoer or coaching against Alabama without Nick Saban on their sideline.
You know, I think in some instances, you know, this football team still resembles the building blocks of Coach Saban. It is Coach DeBoer's team, and it will continue to take on his personality and his direction. But a lot of the work, obviously, in terms of building the foundation is still there. There's a great culture, and Kalen took over a program that was in great shape. So a lot of the underpinnings are still there. I think he still has an office there, right? You know, so there's still that sense that there's a man behind, you know, the curtain, if you will. And I don't want to take anything away from Coach DeBoer because it's his team, but you do sense a little bit of Nick there. So it'll be different, but not to a point where you don't feel like there's still influences from Coach Saban.
Influences, sure, in regards to the players that are on the field, but in how they're coached, not on Saturday, but throughout the entire season. Nick Saban is, you know, we remember him from being here talking about process, talking about, it's, you know, once Saturday gets there, it's all but in the bag because you work yourself Sunday through Friday to get yourself ready for Saturday. And this late in the season, that's a lot of Sunday through Fridays, to be sure. LSU has had some trouble with running quarterbacks. For example, when Texas A&M made the flip week before last, going from Connor Wegman to Marcel Reed, we saw the problems there. We've seen it in other games as well. Jalen Milroe, going to be the most athletic quarterback we've seen all season. How's prep been there?
Really just putting your focus and your attention on your preparation from week to week, because if you get ahead of yourself, you're no longer playing. And look, the way this thing is set up right now, you know, I think we're, 15th. I mean, we're right in the middle of it. And I think when you talk about playoffs, it's so important.
Yeah, I think that's about the playoff run and not about Jalen Milroe. No worries. We'll get to that one next. No worries on that. From here on in, it's the home stretch for LSU football. It's all conference games. You've got a couple of tough opponents within there, and Alabama's going to be the toughest one of them. Kickoff, 6:30 in Tiger Stadium. Eagle 98.1's game day begins at 1:30. Network coverage with Chris Blair, Jacob Hester, and Gordy Rush on the call begins at 4:30. Well, I guess Hunt Palmer Marlon Favorite and Brandon Taylor with the pregame show at 4:30. LSU men's basketball starts off their season 1-0 with a 95-60 win over UL Monroe last night. They were led in scoring by Jalen Reed, who had a couple of highlights like this one.
Tigers on the attack quickly, working around the horn. Reed, head fake, now drives in and posterizes Sondors at the rim. Timeout called by ULM. It's 29-17, and Jalen Reed is ready to play tonight. Give him 14 points, and you can call that a highlight.
He ended up with 24 on the night. The Tigers, like I said, 1-0. Here's the Fox Business Report. I need a longer segment for sports. We're going to have to revamp the whole. I don't know where else to put sports. I look at the rundown. There's no other spot where it can go consistently day to day.
That's tight.
Yeah, it's in. Yeah. All right. Tell you what I'm liking most about from the exhibition game in game one. This team was 10 of 34 for behind the 3-point line last night, which is lower than what they were against Loyola last week. But if you're getting up 34 3-pointers on the night and you're hitting about 30% of them, which 10 of 34 is just under that, you're going to do yourself good in the box score, to be sure. And you got Curtis. Is it Curtis Givens? What's Givens' first name? I'm doing this off memory. Yeah, Curtis Givens was 4 for 9. Cam Carter was 4 for 8. If you could shoot the three, you can run with anybody. It's an equalizer. And what they'll need to work on next is who's shooting threes. Because while those two guys were a combined 8 of 17, you had a handful of guys just go 0 for. Mike Williams was like 0 for 5. And that's unusual, but anyway. All right, let's go ahead and head on back to that Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. If you're coming in from West Baton Rouge, that's where the biggest problem is this morning. It is on the bridge on I-10 eastbound. As you make your way across the bridge, you're going to find an accident by the Nicholson exit. That is backing things up quickly. And if I'm not mistaken, on the back end of those delays, it looks like there's another accident already. Or at least that's what's being... No. That might just be the back of the delays. It's what's being reported. Anyway, Coming across the bridge, delays start before Highway 1. They're not all the way back to Lobdell, to be sure, yet, but they're likely going to continue to build as volume increases and the morning wears on. So if you're coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish, we're not to the point of needing to take the old bridge yet, but it is backing up. So if you wanted to, just to keep volume a little bit lighter, you might want to take that option. Over on I-12 westbound coming in from Denham Springs, you're going to find heavier than normal volume, but it's not enough to make you want to change your route just yet. Back by the Range Avenue exit, it actually starts before Range. It slows down a good bit. Then picks back up again on into Baton Rouge. You'll touch the brakes right before the 10-12 merge. On 10 westbound coming in from Prairieville or points beyond, you're looking good there. Surface streets, 2 accidents to look out for. One's from about an hour ago, Airline at Prescott, that has been moved off the roadway, but it's still up on the board. And just popping up on the board, Government at St. Joseph Street, so right downtown, Government at St. Joseph, brand spanking new accident right there. But your main problem, 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge. That's your look at traffic from the Shaw Bills Tire Traffic Center. .625, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Busy show lined up for you today. Haggai Davis could be in for a Cup of Tech Gumbo in our next segment. We are kind of AI heavy today in Cup of Tech Gumbo. A lot going on in that world. Also on the show today, State Senator Blake Miguez. He's on the Senate Finance Committee. And I'm looking at, as this tax reform session is opening up, I want to talk to as many members of Senate Finance and House Ways and Means as possible. And then we'll move over towards I shouldn't say then we'll move over towards appropriations because we had Jack McFarland on yesterday, which is available on demand at talk1073.com if you want to check it out. But that's going to be the flow of the session. Start finance on one side, start Ways and Means on the other, and then we're going to start to look at not just dollars, but how dollars are being spent. So that's going to be our focus as this session wears on. But Blake Miguez coming up at 7:15 today. We got Crimestoppers at 7:35. Kyle Callihan's back in the house at 7:55. Very quick hit to tell you all about Veterans Week, which is going on this week. In our 8 o'clock hour this morning, Michael Posey is the CEO of Wild Soul Salsa. What are we doing talking salsa sauce, Brian? Well, it's a salsa sauce, a salsa company created by Alex Bregman. And oh, by the way, it's really flipping good, too. So looking forward to that conversation about just growing a brand around an LSU athlete. Talking about that at 8:05, and then Rocco's in the house. We're doing a little Theology Thursday here. So the Reverend of Roast Beef, the Minister of Meat, the Pastor of Po' Boys, Rocco, in at 8:15, and I apologize for nothing. Don't forget tonight, Week 10 in the NFL starts right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Baltimore Ravens hosting Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. 7:15 is your kickoff there. Then Week 10 will wrap up right here when the Rams host the Miami Dolphins, also at 7:15. Your home for Monday and Thursday Night Football is Talk 107.3 FM. So we do have the special session going on right now on tax reform. It kicked off yesterday at about 3 p.m. Started with the governor addressing the session. He had a couple different things to say about. Talk about, if nothing else, and you're going to hear more about this in news at the bottom of the hour, but how badly needed change is right now.
This tax code is bloated. This tax code is broken. This tax code is incredibly out of date. And this tax code is holding our state back.
Is it wrong that when he said this tax code is bloated, I wanted both the House and the Senate to go, how bloated is it? And then have a punchline? Is it? No? All right, fine. Governor Landry says the tax reform plan will produce the biggest tax cuts in Louisiana's history. Flatten the income tax down, state income tax down to 3%. That's at the center of this proposal, resulting in what would be, just that alone would be pretty monumental.
Taxing labor is wrong. Taxing labor is unfair. Taxing labor is economically debilitating because God is the creator of our labor.
I mean, it may be the first day of a special session, but he's in midseason form, y'all. By the way, you can't just cut revenue across the board without offsetting it a little bit. So there will be many services added to the mix that haven't been taxed in the past. We're going to talk about that a heck of a lot as the session wears on. Governor does say this tax plan will transform the state.
Each and every one of you can return to your districts and look your constituents in the eye and tell them that they will be better off because of your hard work.
We'll be all over it. Next hour, Blake Miguez will join us to talk about it right there. And literally every day, we're going to have something on that tax reform session. Jason DeQueer from Advantage Consulting will be 7:15 tomorrow. So as they make changes out of the state capitol, we will follow all of them. Right now, here's news. How did that, like, just this morning? Ew. Was it the blue screen of death or the blue screen of reset?
Yes, I was
He was like, how are you? I was like, what's that beeping?
I was greeted by a host of former producers of the Haggai show downstairs.
Well, if you see Hot Take Jake. Yeah. Nobody gets that joke. I get that joke. No, I get that joke. Even the people who are all, that was such an inside bit. You had to really be a Murphy Brown fan to get that. Candace Bergen. She rolled through her EPs like nothing. Okay, so the thing is, and you can ask Moscona this as well, it's a badge of honor. You grow your people, they go on to do great things. I don't want somebody, if you're on my board for, let's say, more than, call it 4 years. If you're there 4 years, something's wrong. You were just shy of 2. You were at 2. I think you were at 2. Right, and the end of, right, that's when you rolled off was January this year. Yeah. I mean, mentally you clocked out 3 months prior. It's a little true. Difference is between me and Moscona, it's a lot easier to get somebody to come in from like noon to 6 to talk sports than to get here before the sun comes up to talk about all this shit. Which we barely talked about. If it was one segment a day, that was too much. Alex Bregman's salsa. It used to be called, yeah, Breggy Bombs. This is the expansion of it. And good morning, Christy. Correct. Troy says, is the suggestion box open? I like local TV news sports at the bottom of the half hour. I know when it's on, i.e. 6:20 and 10:20, so I can tune in just in time. Wednesdays prevent that because of Franz's court TV schedule. I would do sports from 6:25 to 6:30, which would give me 2 extra minutes of sports, but that would cut into what is more often than not topical. It also eliminates the possibility of a ABC News hit. So, I saw that. Yeah, yeah. Maybe not over here the whole time, but Your Money Matters started over at J-Bo before Talk launched. Well before Talk launched. When did Condon Uncensored start? I think he started before we started, before Talk launched as well. No, that was about the same time all the Walton Johnson shit was going down, and Condon was still in the afternoon. Yes. Wait, Alondra, are you still out there? Damn it. I meant to tell her about something. Unseasonably warm. How much longer is that going to continue? Here's your forecast with Emma Kate Cowan.
Good morning and happy.
That would be T-Bob. Hear sneakers squeaking in the stairwell. I could hear his tennis shoes squeaking in the stairwell. No, the elevator alarm was going off this morning. I don't take the elevators, so I ignore it. That boo, that high-pitched tone, yeah. I think it was the elevator. Coming up on 638 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. It's time to dive into the world of technology. It's time for a cup of tech gumbo. Feel Good Incorporated was good. Feel Good Incorporated was good. There you go. Yes, it's time for a cup of tech gumbo, and yes, we welcome in Haggai Davis as we do every Thursday. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing great, Brian.
Did your computer come back up?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Yes.
All right. So, there's levels of irony here. So
yeah,
I think it's humorous.
It's hysterical.
It sucks for you, but I think it's humorous.
Yes.
Haggai comes in studio this morning, opens up his laptop to blue screen of death.
Yep. Welcome to Windows 11.
Yeah.
And we're all going there by October 15th.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no,
Windows 10 is going end of life October 14th, 2025.
okay, of next year. I was like,
Yes.
I was going
And
to say
so-
October 15th already passed.
Yes. So by next year, you'll have to be on Windows 11 or
Okay, let's start there then. Are there improvements in the works right now? Are they aware of all their problems?
Yeah, Windows. I mean, for the most part, Windows 11 looks an awful lot like Windows 10 and operates
Okay,
a lot.
I've been wanting to ask this question. I've asked it about speed in the past. Is there ever a time in the technological world where enough is enough and you just give everybody the day off and say, hey, look, what you're looking at right now, that looks good. We'll come back when there's a need, but right now we're good.
No, there really isn't, because the bad guys out there who are trying to do nefarious things to us with their malware, that's where the good guys are trying to build in additional securities, additional protections, if you will, so that you don't. They're trying to fight off the bad guys. The good guys are usually about 3 steps behind the bad guys. It's a war of reaction, not prevention kind of thing. And so, yeah, you're always going to have patches and upgrades and getting faster chips because you're going to want things to go faster, do more, and all those fun things.
Yeah, I've gotten off the fast train. It's fast enough for me. I'm good here. I'm good in my little space here where it's fast enough.
You know, I remember how fast that 24 baud modem was in 1992 and how amazing that was.
But there's diminishing returns, though.
Is there?
Yes, 1,000%. It's the same thing with the level of quality of picture. Eventually, you've outpaced my eyes.
Maybe not. I mean, it's, 8K is already, coming out to TVs like, near you. Then we'll get to 16, get to 32 eventually.
Yeah.
And those are happening. The fact that most homes have at least 100 megabits of throughput downloads. Most homes, I got 500 down at my house, and it's just for me and my wife kind of thing. So it's never enough. It's always, you're going to need more. And I will say, this is the beginning of the 11th year of Tech Gumbo.
Okay, hang on. Okay, 500K download, right?
Yeah.
How long does it take?
500 meg.
Meg download, sorry. How long does it take from the time you hit play for a movie to start?
Oh, not very long.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's instantaneous.
But we're coming
Okay.
out. We're gonna,
That's what I mean by diminishing returns. There's no spinny wheel. There's no.
But you're going to see even
Compare
faster
today
speeds.
to Napster. All right. Remember how when you opened up Napster to go download like.
But we're getting there, Brian. We're gonna have gigabit speeds routine at the house in just a couple of years. A lot of people already have gig speeds, not just 500 megabits. So you're gonna the bandwidths are getting faster. The equipment used to process and move data across the internet is getting faster and faster. So yes, it's just always going to get faster and faster and pushing more bandwidth, more data. The movies that you download that at one time was a meg and a half, because of now they're 10 meg files or they're 25 meg files, and so the pictures are getting more dense. And yes, it's still coming through faster because we can download more, but it's never going to stop getting faster.
If we could take some of the minds that are working on this and pivot them over to something that is more crucial to society, it would be a good thing.
Sure, it would.
It would be a good. I don't need to get access to Guardians of the Galaxy 3 any faster than it's already coming. Go cure cancer.
But that's not what drives people's interest.
Say that's not what pays the bills.
Exactly.
That's not what pays the bills. Be real right there. Hey, speaking of the bad guys always being one step in front, Chrome's got a number of new safety features coming.
Yes, it does. So Chrome has put out a whole lot of updates, and 90% of the world uses Chrome. And those who don't use Chrome, if you use Edge, it has a Chromium background in it. So most everyone's using the features in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they're going to put in some performance detections that are going to get better. Memory saver, because Chrome has been historically a memory hog, so that if you have multiple tabs open on your Chrome browser, you're basically grinding your computer to a halt kind of thing. But now you can go into the settings in Chrome, and you can adjust it so that you only going to allow it to have minimal memory, so it doesn't take up all of your settings. There's going to be a moderate, a balance, and a maximum load, so that you can make the interactive tabs not do as much in the background, so it doesn't just bog you down kind of thing.
Can it be set to where I want it to forget everything?
That's a different setting. This is about the memory, the way the memory settings, the protection settings, where it does not keep the cookies and all of those types of things. Yes, you can do that. You can have it.
No, I mean, like you said, multiple tabs open. It's like once I'm done with one, I want it gone. I don't need to remember anything.
Well, but I'm talking about tabs across the browser. If you have multiple pages open,
Yes.
I usually have somewhere between 10 to 20 tabs open on a browser.
Oh, okay. So now we're talking about two different stories, because I'm talking about on my phone versus the laptop, right? On my laptop, I'll tell you how many I got right now. I mean, aside from three different Word documents and an email, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different tabs open right now.
I rarely ever use my phone to look at a browser.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. I can't help you there, because I'm old and bad eyes can't see little tiny screens, so I don't look at phones like that.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna be your resource for that. I'm gonna look at a computer screen before I'm ever gonna look at a computer.
Yeah.
At a phone.
Well, okay. So it's the phone where I wanted to get rid of it. Just forget it afterwards. But you're telling me on my laptop it's eating up too much, or it's grinding my computer to a halt?
Yes. So you can go to the settings and go into the into the performance mode, into performance detection mode. There are some new safety check, improved features in safety check, so that you can it'll look to make sure that you're not going to get involved in things. There's also on your phone now, there's a one tap unsubscribe if you want inside of Chrome.
I like a good unsubscribe.
Oh yeah.
And I really love that the naivete that it actually works.
Exactly.
All right, we got to talk AI just a little bit right now, though. We got a break on air online. If you're watching us on Facebook, Haggai is going to walk me through these settings in real time. Your money now. Traffic will continue next.
send Gordy an invoice. Yeah.
Makes this one, by comparison, unbelievably bitter. It's still, I mean, it's still community coffee, so it's still really good. But
Yeah. Where you want to go now? You want to go into AI now?
yeah,
I do want to mention the beginning of the 11th year, though.
yeah, that's on the back end.
Okay.
.652 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Cup of Tech Gumbo with Haggai Davis rolling along as well. There was a ton of AI there will be a ton of AI in this upcoming episode, or a ton of talk about AI.
Yes.
In the upcoming episode. You didn't farm out your son for
No,
a bot, did you?
We took most of the month of October off from talking about AI. So
Well,
we're
because
getting back-
it's okay, because the world is moving so fast and there's so many headlines about it, you can get a little fatigue on it.
it really can. And
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just take a break from so much AI, but it's kind of built up and we had to get into it.
Yeah. So the latest here is that did I read right that Google's code is 25% written by AI and that number is growing?
Yes. So Sundar Pichai, the CEO at a Wall Street quarterly call, admitted that as much as 25% of the programming and coding that the AI, that the Google employees are doing is now generated by artificial intelligence. Now, a lot of that is more than likely, I might type out some code. Hey, AI, go read through my code, make sure it looks good, correct whatever I did find my mistakes, those types of things. They're not somebody sitting back saying, okay, go create this and have it do it all.
Mhm.
That's not the way most programmers are using AI nowadays. They're still wanting to do their code and then have the AI fix it. They want to keep their jobs. They don't want to be completely replaced by AI. So yes, about 25% of Google's coding right now is AI generated.
What's that number going to grow to? Because of the protectionism there, because we don't want to put everybody out of work. It feels inevitable.
Oh, it does. There's a story also about the fashion industry where there's
Saw that one.
This one retailer, instead of going out and hiring an expensive model and an expensive photographer and going to an elaborate shoot and spending all these thousands of dollars, they're using their $29 a month AI account to artificially generate a photo using the clothing that they need with a female or a male model of their choice in whatever scene they want, and done in about 20 minutes. So instead of spending thousands and thousands of dollars and taking a month or two to get generated, they're doing this in minutes. And it's hard to tell the difference because, oh, by the way, when they're doing the real photos with the real people,
Yep.
they're still going back and they're still airbrushing it and photoshopping it.
Right.
So it's okay. Are you going to Photoshop before or Photoshop after?
We got two more things to cover here, and I think we're only going to get to one of them. This one involves AI as well, and that is when commingling AI with people, you have to worry about an emotional connection.
You do. This was a really sad story. It was a 14-year-old boy who fell in love with his AI chatbot and had
But not like romantically in love. This was like, it was like his sister or whatever.
no. This was he was romantically, emotionally invested in this chatbot, and he was having conversations on his phone with this bot, and it was getting very intimate. And the bot kept saying, I'm fake. I'm not real. And he kept saying, I don't care.
Right.
And ultimately it got to where he was withdrawing more and more and more, pulling away from his family, not coming out of his room, and just talking with this chatbot. And his parents found out about all this well after the fact, and they went through and read the whole history. And ultimately the boy took his life.
Right. And when you say well after the fact, you mean after his suicide.
After his suicide,
right.
Yes. And it was, he got to the point where he was telling the chatbot, I want to come join you. I don't want this worldly body anymore. I want to come be with you. And this was such a sad thing that this kid was finding more emotional connection with an artificial intelligence generated bot,
right,
than with the humans in his life.
Well, because humans can be mean.
They can.
Humans can say the wrong things.
Absolutely. And it takes work to have communications with humans.
Yeah.
And the AI bot is always going to make you feel better. It's always going to be nice to you and encourage you. And even though it's kept telling him, you do remember, I'm just an AI bot.
Right.
And he kept saying, I don't care. I'm in love with you. I don't care. I want to be with you. And then he ended his life.
This is going to push towards the area of technology that we keep. I always go back to Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. We spend so much time asking if we can. We never ask if we should.
Yes. And, this is kind of the same conversation we've had about social media and the way kids are spending, hours and hours and hours every day just looking at their small screens in their hands instead of talking to the people in their lives.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent with a young teen, there's a bunch of suggestions about what to do if you see this happening.
Yeah, and as a parent, I read all those suggestions, and I got to tell you, it's going to slip through. It's always going to slip through the cracks.
Agreed.
Because kids are going to find a way.
And so, the number one thing is just make sure you're talking to your kids.
100%.
Be a parent to your
but
kid.
even that is not going to always get it done.
No, but as long as you have some line of communication open,
mm-hmm.
The way this story was read and written that we found, even the mom in the end talked about how she wished she would have talked to her kid.
Yeah. On a lighter note, a much lighter note.
Yes.
The show's in year 11.
That is right. This is the beginning of our 11th year. November 2014, we started Tech Gumbo. And now we're 330 plus something shows in. And it's been such a fun ride. Getting to do this with my son is so much fun. We have a great time talking to each other about the things that we really enjoy talking about.
So Tech Gumbo's about to be a teenager, which means we need to look out for it now.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Tech Gumbo's about to start middle school.
Unreal. He's Haggai Davis. You catch the full serving of Gumbo, Tech Gumbo, Saturdays and Sundays right here on Talk 107.3 FM. We always appreciate it, man.
You bet, Brian.
Thank you so much. We're coming up on 7 o'clock. It's time for news. Hour 2 is next. Oh.
Yeah, that's such a hard subject to talk about. And
that's why I dive into it. Is because I don't F hard.
Oh, I know.
Who got's hard? You got, because if you're not willing to embrace the uncomfortable, your kid's going to off themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what happened here. These parents weren't talking to their kid. I mean, and weren't trying to engage. I mean, but it's hard for me to sit there and say, this is how you should treat your kids. I'm not going to do that. But by the same token, here, this is what happened to a family that, because they weren't, if somebody hears that and it makes somebody...
Yeah, I was going to say, you say it without having to say it. Without you having to say, hey, talk to your kids. You're like, hey, this is what happens when you don't.
I mean, it's...
Well, and so...
Just be involved. Like, it's really that simple.
I worry about... Okay, my oldest daughter, I have zero worries.
Mm-hmm.
My middle child, I have few worries. My son, I have worries because Carrie is as bold as I am. Okay, she's never met a stranger. She embraces the uncomfortable. Abby has a million friends, but a ton of anxiety. James is timid, and I don't know how to undo that. But I don't want to undo it because I'm not trying to change who he is as a person.
Right.
I just need him to know how to navigate the world through that.
See, my two kids, Haggai, failure is always an option with him.
Right.
My youngest, the fear of failure just almost shuts him down.
Paralyzes?
Yeah. And I mean, failure has been such a part of my life because I've fucked some things up over the time.
Right.
And but my youngest can't deal with that. And so it's a very difficult situation to deal with. And how do you get past that? The go.
Yeah, I don't know. That's always my advice to people. It's like, yeah, you're going to be fearful. You might fail, but at least you're failing forward. If you go for something, you fail at it. You fail toward your goal at least. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That always made it comfortable for me. Like, hey,
If you don't,
It's like-
don't fail at something, you'll never learn something.
right.
If you
And that's boring. Because
Yeah.
if you're not learning, you're just constantly in the same,
I mean,
same mood.
you've got to get out and try it. And if you screw up, you fall flat on your face. Okay,
You
dust
tried it.
yourself off, get up, and do it again. You know, yeah.
Yeah. There's no right answer.
No, there's not.
Because the right answer is individualized to speak for themselves.
100%. And far be it for me to try and tell anybody how to be a parent because I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids are grown.
Yeah.
I mean, just turned 25.
Yo, yo.
What you say, Rich?
Hey, guy, what you doing?
I'm bothering this group.
No, see, I don't want to interrupt. I didn't know you were here. I mean, I know you know we're here, but I didn't know you were here. You good?
Yeah, take over, man. Give them hell.
Yeah, Brian lifts my spirits every day.
All right, hi, guy. Have a good one.
Hey, dude, I just gave out the challenge to Broom. If Sid Edwards can run without wearing a toupee, you can too.
What?
Oh, my God.
Connie
Sid's
woke
real.
up and chose violence.
Sid's real.
You found yourself a second wind. Oh, I just you're reinvigorated this week. You're
Oh, that's done a lot.
yeah.
Wait.
Well, I just
Hey, wait.
.705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Thanks again to Haggai Davis for a cup of tech gumbo. Busy second hour. We are going to dive into the special session on tax reform. State Senator Blake Miguez slated to join us 10 minutes from right now. There's going to be a flow to this session because it's so specific and directed on tax reform. I want to get inside the Senate Finance Committee. I want to get inside the House Ways and Means Committee. Those are my first two stops, and then I want to start to pivot over towards appropriations after that, and then welcome everybody else into the House or everybody else from the Capitol in along the way, because that's how this thing's going to grow, because it's so specialized. It's just tax reform. We'll talk with Blake Miguez, who's on the Senate Finance Committee, 9 minutes from right now. Also this hour, Lieutenant Don Coppola in for Crimestoppers. Also this hour, we got Kyle Callihan. Kyle is very active in our veterans community in Baton Rouge, and it is Veterans Week, and we will talk with Kyle about the events of Veterans Week. That's at 7:55. Right now, top stories and trending. Let's ride.
Number 5.
Speaking of that legislative session, it got underway at 3 o'clock yesterday. Will extend through November 25th. Governor Jeff Landry's office said it hopes the session will amend tax law at the state and local levels, pass legislation regarding corporate finance and income taxes, as well as passing legislation. This one's a big one, by the way. This one's an important one. Passing legislation that will increase the standard deduction amount applied against income tax for those above the age of 65.
Number 4.
A Baton Rouge man was arrested yesterday after allegedly shooting at a group of juveniles that he believed had burglarized a vehicle at his residence, wounding one, police reported. 27-year-old Asanta Green was arrested on counts of attempted first-degree murder and illegal use of a weapon in connection with an October 14th shooting on his property in the 800 block of Stony Creek Avenue. Green was identified as the shooter, quote, after a thorough investigation.
Number 3.
John, I'm going to want to come back to this story at some point. I really, you get these images of Clint Eastwood and Gran Torino in your head. The guy's a victim of a crime, and now he's the one charged with the crimes because he went too far on the vigilante end. Yeah. But, there's a part of me that says, and he's not Clint Eastwood. He's 27 years old. Right? But there's a part of me that's he's punished for fighting back, but he fought back too far. Right. Where's the line? This is going to be a topic next week. Yes, if not next week, then once that session's over with, we have some free time in December or late November. It's a bigger story than it did. It should just be buried in these headlines right here. What were we on, number 3?
Yeah.
All right, DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, is urging all EBT car holders to change their PIN number. They found multiple skimming devices at retail locations across the state of Louisiana. Local and federal authorities recommend you change your PIN every 30 days. I'm sorry, DCFS recommends anyway that you change your PIN every 30 days. Don't wait 30 days. Go ahead and do it now if you are an EBT card holder.
Number 2.
December 7th will be that runoff election or the general election, depending on what item on the ballot you're looking at. The deadline to register in person, by mail, or at the Office of Motor Vehicles is this coming Wednesday, so a week from yesterday. Registration through the GoVote online registration system is due November 16th. That'll apply to those who have, this all applies to those who have never registered to vote before or are making changes to their voter registration. By the way, November 22nd is when early voting begins. It'll run all the way through November 30th, but it'll skip, obviously, Sunday, November 24th, always closed on a Sunday, and then Thanksgiving Day and the Friday after Thanksgiving Day because, you can't early vote on Black Friday shopping.
Number 1.
Think Donald Trump won't shut down the border? Ask Hurricane Rafael where it's headed. In the Gulf of Mexico right now. 2 days ago, Louisiana was in the cone of uncertainty for Hurricane Rafael. Looked like the storm was going to slow down and or stall out in the Gulf of Mexico, but you had that bubble that was covering a good chunk of the state. Now, not so much. Rafael moving due west, headed towards Mexico. Right now, it's at a Category 3 storm with maximum sustained winds of 105 miles per hour. What's trending, John?
Well, Kamala Harris said Wednesday that, quote, "We must accept the results of this election," as she encouraged supporters to continue fighting for their vision of the country after her loss to Donald Trump.
What else can she say? What else can she say? After 4 years of calling Republicans election deniers, which is after 4 years of Republicans calling Hillary Clinton an election denier. But nonetheless, what can you say at this point other than, I lost. Take my lick and go home.
That's it.
And we'll come. Look, and she was, it might have been her best speech yet, if I'm being completely, maybe it's because, like all the tension is over with, the election is over with, she could just come out and like give a speech without having any political implications.
Well, that's fascinating because do you think, really, in the back of her mind, somewhere in the deep recesses of her mind, do you think she's kind of relieved
That it's over?
that it's over? That maybe she wasn't the best fit?
Well-
Do you think that? Because you just said, I mean, considering her campaign, I mean, it was just word salads and everything, and you said she gave one of the best speeches post-election.
I think
do you think her
anybody-
head's straight now? Where it's like,
my answer to that is probably no,
Mm.
because I think that anybody, and this is all parties, everyone who has their name on a ballot to run for president has
Yeah.
to be a little bit maniacal,
yes,
has to be a little bit of a megalomaniac.
Mm.
You have to have that embedded in you to believe that you can run this nation,
yeah,
and this nation still is the leader of the world.
Mm.
So you therefore become the leader of the free world. To believe that you can pick up that torch and carry it, you have to be delusional on some level.
right. Good answer.
It
That's
would be
good.
nice for one day for us to have a president
Yep.
who does not believe that they're worthy of the job.
Yeah.
A humble president.
Yes.
I don't know that we've seen that,
Mm.
at least not recently.
And look, the blame game is in full force because, it's virtually impossible to keep up with all the articles speculating on why Kamala Harris lost the presidential race.
I've read a bunch of them. Read about a dozen yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know why. For the same reason you look at a traffic wreck when you pass it. That's why.
Right. Yeah.
It just like a moth to the flame. I'm going to do it.
Mm.
What was missing from all of the articles that what was missing from all the articles that I read was just a bad candidate. And I mean nothing. I don't want to impugn Kamala Harris as a person. But if
Right.
you rewind the clock back to the Democratic primaries, she didn't win diddly. Now, it wasn't going to be this time around. I mean, 4 years ago, when she was on the same day as she was at a podium next to Joe Biden in Democratic debates, she didn't win diddly. The Democratic Party within itself said, we want someone else, not her. Now, if you're going to say that, well, people voted for her as vice president, I'm going to call BS on that because nobody votes for the bottom of the ticket. Donald Trump won on Tuesday. J.D. Vance didn't. Even if you like J.D. Vance, you voted Donald Trump,
Right.
right?
Yep.
4 years ago, you voted Joe Biden.
Yes.
4 years before that, you voted Donald Trump. You weren't voting the bottom of the ticket.
That's right.
There's a reason there's a headliner. All right? Nobody Taylor Swift was in New Orleans 2 weekends ago.
Right.
Who opened for her?
No one?
Yeah, she had an opening act.
She did?
She had
Was it
opening-
Sabrina Carpenter?
No.
I know she made it. See,
Okay,
I know Sabrina
Carpenter
made-
was the opening act at the beginning of the Eras Tour because
Okay.
the Eras Tour has been its own era. But Sabrina Carpenter, from the time that she opened till now, has gone #1 on the charts.
And I know she
So
made a
she's
guest
on her own tour. Yes,
she's
she
made
did.
a guest appearance.
She made a guest appearance on
but I
Saturday
didn't
night.
realize she had
But-
an opening.
Yeah, Taylor had an opening act. Who is it? Don't know. Don't care. But their names on the
See,
ticket.
that's the thing.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
didn't even know.
That's what I'm saying. If you go see the Rolling Stones, you're going to see the Rolling Stones.
Right.
You're not going to see the opening act.
Unfortunately.
That's my point.
Unfortunately. So many good opening acts. Shout out to all the opening acts out there.
Yeah.
You're going to get there one day, maybe. Hey, speaking of getting there one day, Baton Rouge rapper Torrance Boosie Hatch wasted no time to take to Twitter to ask President-elect Donald Trump Wednesday to pardon him for a gun charge he was indicted on earlier this year. You get it, Boosie.
We
Get it, man.
we
Shoot your shot, man.
Yes, shoot your shot. But I forgot about this part of what we had with the Trump presidency before, and there with all the crazy sideshows. Because if there's somebody asking President Trump, and he's President-elect Trump right now, so you're a little premature You're a little premature, Boosie, in hopping on to ask for a pardon right now because he doesn't take the office for a couple months. He can't do diddly for you right now. But I forgot about all the sideshow stuff. Like when President Trump was president before and he was on his way out and Joe Exotic thought he was getting a pardon. Like that whole drama that was made for television, by the way, made for TV. It just, I don't know why these things bubble up to the surface. And why does it hit different?
And it's funny that he would assume he would be pardoned because why? Because Trump's in office? Like,
Right.
What is that?
Right.
What does that have to
You
do
have, Joe Exotic with a limo waiting outside, Kanye West with a 3-hour long meeting. Like, I want the craziness
So
that comes
good.
along with it. I want that back in the fold this time around. We're running long right now.
Yes,
It's
we are.
7:16 to Talk 107.3 FM. Going to have State Senator Blake Miguez on with us next. Call the senator before going down, please. Galen says the power of true leadership. Newsweek reports a senior Hamas official has called for an immediate end to Israel's war against the group in the Gaza Strip and a plan to achieve Palestinian statehood. In remarks shared with Newsweek in the wake of former President Donald Trump's election victory. Man, I wonder how many 1979 parallels we're going to see in the coming weeks. No sight of Joe Biden or Jill since the election. I saw the stories where Biden called Trump, but I don't expect to see them. I don't expect to at all. Oh. 719 Talk 1073 FM WBRP. Running a little bit behind here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. So let's not waste any more time at all diving right into the special session that opened yesterday. The aim here is tax reform. Joining us now from the Senate Finance Committee is State Senator Blake Miguez. Senator Miguez, welcome back to Talk 1073. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well as well. Let's walk through as many facets of the session as we can get to over the course of the next 10 minutes. Everybody got together yesterday. 3 p.m. was the start time. I want to start with this. How's the mood of the legislature coming back for a third special session?
Well, this is an odd time of year for us to come in right before Thanksgiving, but, we did. The people spoke last year around this time and said they wanted to send a legislature and a governor that was going to put Louisiana first and get to work. And I can tell you there's no grass that grows under our governor's feet. And he's always said if we want to catch up and get Louisiana back on track, we got to work twice as hard. And we're working about 4 times as hard this year. But I can tell you that members and the vibe is very positive. You have a team atmosphere. We believe in our governor's goals and how we're going to get there. Now, this process for a tax reform session is going to be very complicated and very verbose. So although we all have the same goals in mind, the legislation that begins will look a lot different at the end of the day. I mean, there's a lot of different facets to talk about. There's a lot of folks from back home, whether it's local government, small business owners, industry folks that are reaching out and addressing and, levying their concerns, and that'll all be addressed by the legislature. At the end of the day, we hope that we can have a modernized and simplified Louisiana tax code that's more competitive with other states and, more importantly, puts Louisiana on a path towards future prosperity. And I can tell you, I know what the governor has in mind. He really would like to see, by the time he leaves office, and in his mind, hopefully that's 8 years from now, personal income tax completely eliminated in Louisiana. And this is some of the first steps to get there.
We're talking with State Senator Blake Miguez about the just opened special session on tax reform. Complicated and verbose. I think those are two really good words you use right there in order to describe this session. And one of the reasons it's so complicated is there are many steps along the way that no matter what step is the first step, it's going to feel like putting the cart before the horse.
Keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of discussions.
Let
me talk through some of the things that are going to happen, or that the goals are. They're talking about lowering and flattening the personal and corporate income tax, bringing it down to that 3 to 3.5% range, eliminating franchise tax, finding out a mechanism or a process that would eventually eliminate the inventory tax on business owners, some things like prohibiting local taxation on prescription drugs, a number of things, including teacher pay raises and consolidating funds behind the scenes to make them more efficient. I can go on and on and on about the different proposals that are before us. And at the end of the day, this is made to make sure that Louisiana is put on a path towards economic prosperity. Now, all these measures will start in the House of Representatives. We'll be there. We'll be in Baton Rouge for at least 2 or 3 weeks. But these measures will start in the House of Representatives in the Ways and Means Committee, and you'll hear a lot of the debate going on, and a lot of the changes and the initial changes and amendments are probably happening in the House, but senators are watching very closely. We have been working with staff every day to get a full understanding of all these different bills. And keep in mind, the governor had pushed hard for a constitutional convention over the summertime, which he didn't get the special session on. But this session actually has a portion of that constitutional convention in it, with a singular constitutional amendment that deals with Article 7, which is the part that deals with a lot of the finances for the state. So we will be also talking about that and potentially having a special election on March 29th of next year for the voters to weigh in on if they agree with some of the structural changes that we'll be doing to the tax code.
State Senator Blake Miguez is our guest talking about the special session on tax reform. Oh, yeah, the rewriting Article 7 here is a big chunk of this. And the second I heard about the special session, I was like, oh, Richard Nelson got Christmas early right here.
Richard Nelson is staying very busy. I know he's been traveling around the state. Yeah. He's been hearing good things and he's been hearing bad things. Look, believe me, everybody wants to lower taxes. Everybody wants to flatten taxes. Everybody wants to improve our economy. But the tough part is, how do you pay for it, right?
Yes.
And you've got to look at balancing with, removing exemptions and credits. They're potentially going to have new taxation on digital services, broaden the base. But you get to some of the tougher conversations is you're renewing that 0.45 sales tax that the former governor had put in place that was supposed to be temporary, and expanding sales taxes on different services like we see in some of the other states. Mm-hmm. That's where you start having a conversation to see if that best fits this package. And I can tell you where I like the conversation to go, and it started moving in that direction, is how do we limit the future growth of government reoccurring spending? And I'm happy to say that we have some legislators with the governor's support that are bringing an expenditure limit bill forward, which would limit the growth of government programs and reoccurring expenditures based on the growth of the private sector. So we can avoid a situation like we saw under the last governor, where the state government spending blows out of control and the private sector can never catch up. And we always end up with these fiscal shortfalls that either rely on increasing taxes to cover the shortfall or cutting critical government services, which is never a good idea. So what I would like to do is see Louisiana solve its spending problem while reforming its tax code to put us on a path towards prosperity. And when you have more economic growth in our economy and you're going to see more tax collections, we can use those collections to pay down deferred maintenance on infrastructure, as well as buying down the personal income tax rate, and hopefully giving the people and the governor what they would like to see, which would be removing the personal income tax in the future.
Okay, this is such a big point here, Senator Miguez, because Now you're starting to talk about some of the big picture things that the state has been embedded into for over 100 years now, is that municipalities, parishes, local cities, and whatnot are reliant upon the state government to fund their own budgets. It's like literally mama bird feeding baby bird on the state flag. How do we undo a century's worth of habit in a 3-week session?
Well, I'm telling you, it won't happen all in 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
this is a large move in that direction. It depends on how much of this legislation gets out this special session will determine how fast we make that first move. But keep in mind, Brian, we're coming back in the spring for a fiscal session.
Yep.
And we're getting an opportunity to get a second bite at the apple. A lot of the things I think that'll pass this session may not be implemented until after the regular session. Very similar to how we approached the crime issue, where we had a special session on crime, and then we came back into the regular session and we cleaned all that up after we had the opportunity to see ways to improve. I think you'll see the same thing happen there. And look, the crime session was very successful, and Louisiana's crime issue is those crime rates are going down. So I think we'll get there. And if you look at other states like Tennessee and North Carolina, they didn't do it all in one session. Some went slow, some went very aggressively, but it all took a multi-year step. But the point is that our tax code now is ranked at the bottom 10%. Some of the changes, some of the proposals that the governor is offering, if were put into place or implemented in some way, shape, or form, will put us into the top 10% and make us more competitive, where we'll have more people and businesses moving here. Remember, Louisiana has an out-migration problem where the South doesn't have an issue with population. Yeah. We're seeing our neighboring states growing, but yet Louisiana is slowly shrinking. And we've had arguments about congressional district lines and who's going to be the next congressman in this district or that district, and should it be a Republican or a Democrat or someone of a minority. But the biggest issue is we're losing seats overall. We should be gaining congressional seats and gaining more of a voice in D.C. so we can have more of a voice on the national level. And you do that by stopping the out-migration problem. And this is just a small part of the governor's plan on getting us back on a path towards economic prosperity, to build population, and most importantly, Brian, not just to build population, but to retain our kids and our grandkids and our future generations right here in Louisiana, growing up eating crawfish and jambalaya and boudin and living on the bayou and enjoying Louisiana's beautiful culture. We don't need them living in Texas and in Florida and these other places. They need to live right here in Louisiana, and we can do that if we're good stewards of our government.
We got about a minute and a half left with State Senator Blake Miguez talking about the special session on tax reform. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about, is there a level of concern when you talk about rewriting Article 7? I have no doubt, I have a full faith that the legislature is going to do the legislature's job. Y'all are over there at the state capitol. You're going to get your job done. Roll ahead to March. I have a little bit less faith that the people are going to respond in kind when you have one huge ticket item on the ballot that gets a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And so much of what y'all are doing right now is contingent upon us doing our jobs in March. Is there a level of concern that there's a lot of eggs going into one basket?
Oh, believe me, they'll take a lot of work. And the first thing I'll tell you to help sell that on the ballot is, and I want all the listeners to hear this, whatever comes out in Article 7 will not remove protections on a homestead exemption. That's the first thing that needs to be put aside, because that's something I think that people would not want to see removed. We're going to go through that Article 7. We're going to try to make it as sellable as possible and make it as understandable as possible. It'll be very complicated, but that's what we're going to do in the legislature. We're going to try to get an instrument that we can sell to the people and also show them a path towards reducing their personal income tax and modernizing the code and making sure at the end of the day that they see more dollars in their pocket and they get a government that works more efficiently. Keep in mind, there's some other things that are going to be going on, like combining our savings accounts to improve our state bond rating, which will save us on interest costs. Those are easy things I think members can vote on, as well as focusing on giving a permanent teacher pay raise, and while also paying down long-term debt in the teacher's retirement system. I think those are things that a lot of folks can get behind. Like I said, the governor has built a great framework on this session, on this tax package. There are just some points that we're going to have to talk more about. And at the end of the day, I don't think the legislature just rubber stamps this thing. I think we listen to our locals back home. I think we listen to stakeholders, and we listen to the business owners and working class folks that are paying these tax bills every day and are suffering from inflation across this country. And we take their feedback and we deliver a product at the end of the day that moves our state in the right direction. And if it takes us 2, 3, 4 sessions over the next decade that's just what it'll take. But we'll get Louisiana on the right track again.
Great stuff. He is State Senator Blake Miguez. That's how you start off talking about a special session. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you so much, Brian, and I would like the listeners to keep us all in their thoughts and prayers, and God bless the great state of Louisiana.
100%. Thank you so much. Here's ABC News. Guy's so good. So good. I mean, I know he ran us 30 seconds over in the news. Come on in. Oh, good morning. How are you today? I'm well. How are you today? Yeah? Right, Jan Mol, dude, what a bullshit answer right there. The research triangle, it was created by the businesses that were brought in by the revamping of the tax code. You're talking, you know what? No, I'm not diving into that. F it. What do you mean? Oh, I understand. Was up here for election night. Didn't go home until 10:30. Didn't get to bed till 2. 5. Everybody keeps telling me that. It's a comfortable couch, but I don't know. I don't want to be not to get too graphic, but I sleep in my drawers. So, but like I'm at work. I don't need. What does it matter? Well, I understand that, but like, no, I'm still at work. I'm not going to be comfortable. Like the couch itself is comfortable, yes, but I'm not going to be able to like. And it's different during a hurricane because I'll have like gym shorts with me. Yeah, I didn't bring anything with me. Okay, I wasn't late for work. I normally get here about 4:45, so I was about 10, 15 minutes late. It wasn't bad, but it's the turnaround time. And yes, losing a half hour, 15 minutes home, 15 minutes back. That extra half hour sleep might have made a difference. But then it wasn't just that. It was how my Wednesday mapped out as well. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Sure. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Students with an inmate? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And how hard is it to translate that to a younger, like the older you are, the more you understand the consequences. The younger you are, the less you grasp the realities of life and death. Right. That's where. No, it's a deep conversation. I want to have it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 1 second. It has been unseasonably warm. How much longer is that going to keep up? Here's your forecast with WBRZ meteorologist Emma Kate Cowan. The holidays, idle hands. Uh-huh. Right. Right. I got to kill one promo before we get into it. Keep the music going. Talk 107.3 FM and Citizens Bank and Trust are bringing you the ultimate holiday gift with our Home for the Holiday sweepstakes. Imagine 2025 with your rent or mortgage covered up to $18,000. We're here to make your holidays a whole lot brighter. Just sign up at talk1073.com and you could be living stress-free next year. The winner will be notified on December 20th. Home for the Holidays, presented by Talk 107.3 FM and Citizens Bank and Trust. It is Thursday. Every Thursday, we got a few things. There's a few things we do every Thursday. One of them's Cup of Tech Gumbo. Another one is Crimestoppers, which is coming your way right now. Yes, it's time for Crimestoppers, and we welcome in Lieutenant Don Capola. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing very, very well. We got a lot of ground. We got a lot of ground to cover today, and as I opened up the Crimestoppers Facebook page, I saw even more ground to cover because it hits home.
It hits home.
Yeah, there's one thing in particular that hits home this morning. But I want to start off out in Livingston Parish if we could, because
Yes.
this is the Capital Region Crimestoppers, which covers the entire area. Livingston's one of those stops, and y'all were out there. When was this? Yesterday?
This was yesterday morning.
Tell me all about it.
So yesterday morning, we had the opportunity to visit the Livingston Alternative and Pine Ridge schools. We have a DOC inmate who is on his way out of the system, but he wanted to share his story with these young men and women as far as life choices, decisions, and the consequences that may go along with the decisions you make.
Before we get into all of that, what is the Livingston Alternative School? Is that?
So my understanding is it's a school that kids are at if they may get suspended or expelled from their primary school.
Right.
If they're having trouble behavior-wise, they're put into this program to work out issues, either returning to their school or before taking the next step as far as maybe a juvenile center or whatnot.
Right. These are students who, for better or worse, have already kind of tested the limits.
Tested the limits.
The limits.
And the faculty at these places. The people are amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
They really care about these kids.
Right. I wouldn't go so far as to use the term at risk, but it's definitely.
It's another chance before whatever that next step may be.
Correct. So, all right, we bring out this this DOC inmate. Would it be too much to ask what they did? Do we know?
Well, each situation is different.
No, I mean the DOC inmate.
Oh, the DOC inmate. Okay. Yeah. So he was incarcerated on a home invasion charge.
Okay.
And he and I have seen each other on a daily basis for the last 5 years. And
Okay.
we wanted to start this because we see statistically that crime, the victims,
Mm-hmm.
the offenders, are getting younger and younger and younger. So what better way, because I could go talk, you could go talk, but having someone that's in the system that can better relate, these kids are going to listen.
How heavy is the story? I mean, because these are still kids, but they're not children. We're talking about teenagers.
We're talking about teenagers, some or preteens.
Okay.
That we saw yesterday, but the story is heavy. It is heart-wrenching to hear what was done, the upbringing of this inmate that can relate to these kids, and to the point where even after we had sidebar conversations with some of the kids that approached, because they can relate to the situation. They don't want to be where he is now, spending the last 15 years away from his family, away from loved ones, and just the freedom of what we have in today's world.
This is our Crime Stopper segment. Lieutenant Don Capola in with us, Capital Region Crime Stoppers. The nature of his story, is it more about the horrors of being incarcerated, or is it more about making the right choices?
It's really both. Okay, so you want to make the right choices. If not, these are the consequences that may come from whatever decision you make. And he stressed this. It's cool to be cool. It's okay to be cool.
Okay.
So, if you're with a group of friends, we have the holidays coming up, and Brian says, "Hey, let's go do this," and that's not the right thing to do. It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay to separate yourself because you may have a athletic and academic scholar, and that can be taken away in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all the work you put
in. And even if you're not in that category, you may be a band member, or you may just be a good person with a good family. And
it doesn't matter what your life's passion. Exactly. What your passion is, you're going to lose that passion.
You're going to lose it
because of poor choices.
And you don't know how long the loss is. And again, I mean, this guy has for the last 15 years hasn't seen family. 15 birthdays. Right. So it's really a good message, and we hope to continue this throughout our 8-parish area.
No, the reason I ask about the difference between are you talking about the horrors of prison or the need to make the right choices is just the tenor of it. Is it more of a scared straight type of talk?
It's more of a honest, not really a scare tactic, because some of these kids have been in the system. It's more of making the right choices, and if you don't, these are the consequences that you could suffer. But I've been in it, I've lived it, and it's not a place where you want to go.
How often do y'all do this sort of thing?
So we're relatively new with this. This is actually our second school. We visited a school in Baton Rouge, but we're hoping that we can continue this, and just to hear the story that he tells, to relate with the kids, and just watching the kids as he's telling this story, they're they're in awe. The first school we did, I received a text from the principal days later that the kids were still talking about the message.
Yeah. Which is the one. That's the hope.
That's the hope.
It sticks.
And as long as you reach at least one, then your job is done. Now, of course, it's going to be more than that. But before a kid acts on something, you would hope they would think back to these conversations,
100%.
seeing and hearing and remembering, and make the right choice.
100%. We got Don Capole in with us for Crimestoppers. All right, we got to pivot because there's so much ground to cover, and we haven't even talked about any fugitives yet.
We have not. So while we continue on the Facebook page, LSU police are looking for a individual on a campus theft. Believed to occur October 18th of this year. It's a great picture. Looks like there's some kind of backpack, blue shirt, blue shorts. If you can identify this individual, contact Crimestoppers. The next, William Brem III.
Yep, that's
this
what I
guy,
wanted to talk about.
Yes.
No, and I'll tell you exactly why as soon as we get into it. Go ahead.
So this individual was believed to be responsible for entering a religious chapel. One evening around the 10 o'clock hour, there was an elderly, I want to say 81-year-old, that was in there sitting, minding his own business. Well, it's believed that Brem walks up and starts antagonizing this man and putting his hands in his face or whatnot.
Beating him with a chair.
Well, the man stands up with his cane and like, what are you doing? Get off me. Then takes a chair and throws and hits this elderly individual, knocking him to the ground. Well, it doesn't stop there. He continues to pick up chair after chair after chair. Doesn't stop there. Picks up the kneelers. Continues to throw them at this elderly man, and this this poor victim is doing the best he can to defend himself. And Brem then leaves. We put this out, and the tips were coming in just one after another, and so he was later arrested.
1 week and 7 hours prior was my hour in that chapel. So, yeah, I'm quite familiar with the story. And the good news is he has been apprehended.
Yes, he has been apprehended, and it's believed that there's a history of violence.
Yeah.
But it was quite disturbing to see, to hear. But the good news is that he is behind bars.
We got 1 minute left. Can we squeeze in one fugitive that's still out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Tyquin Lewis is wanted by the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office on the charges of domestic abuse, battery, strangulation, simple criminal damage to property, resisting an officer, and home invasion. It's believed that the victim, a female acquaintance, heard a knock at the door, looked through the peephole to see Lewis, did not let him in. There's some history. Lewis kicks the door in, goes inside. Verbal altercation quickly escalates to a physical altercation. He has his hands around her throat, restricting the airway. She's able to get away, fighting back, threatens to call law enforcement. And as soon as that call was made, he was out the door. So Tyquin Lewis, wanted by the sheriff's office.
It doesn't matter how many times you hear the stories. The domestic abuse ones always hit the hardest. If
They
you know anything
do.
about the whereabouts of Tyquin Lewis, 344-STOP is the phone number. 344-STOP. Download the P3 app. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Of course, check out the Capital Region Crimestoppers Facebook page. He's Don Capola. We always appreciate the time, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Here's your money now. You know what? That chair was missing the week before.
Which chair?
In the Mercy Adoration Chapel.
And I purposely didn't mention as Father
Cleo
requested. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Your boy rolls into the so we have a rotation. It's a perpetual adoration chapel. So the host is we have it's there all the time. Jesus is there all the time, like in the form of the host, right? As communion. And it's in its monstrance and it's up at the front of the chapel, which means you need somebody in there all the time to be with him. And everybody signs up for an hour at a time. And I'm on a team with 5 different. It's me and 4 other guys, so we rotate for 1 hour. We have our hours 4 a.m. on Saturday. And if it's not my week this week, it'll be next week. Blah blah blah. Moving on. And I'm probably going to talk about the story again next hour when Rocco comes in. But my hour's 4 a.m. on Saturday, and that 81-year-old, I don't know who he is. I haven't gotten his name yet. Fortunately, his name's been kept out of everything. But my guess is every single week he's sitting right there just praying. He's just sitting there praying or kneeling there praying. Probably sitting because he's got a cane.
He was sitting.
Yeah. But this Adoration Chapel is there for nothing but prayer and worship. That's it. I mean, there's no collection plate. It's not like if you're.
It looks pretty basic.
It is.
Chairs.
Yeah. Well, don't say basic in front of Father Cleo. It's very ornate.
Well, no.
I know what you mean. But it has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's perpetual adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. And it's hard enough to find volunteers to be committed adorers. And when things like this happen, one of the guys in my group, or it's not my group, but it's the group one of the guys in the group that I'm in said, "Guys, I'm out. Until we can be safe in there, I can't. I'm not doing this anymore." So,
but
he is bailed, and now it's harder for us. Like now, instead of every 5th week, we got to go every 4th week.
But this is. Where are you? I mean, if
nowhere. That's the point.
Exactly, that's the point. So obviously, the Holy Spirit was with this man during this attack, without a doubt.
That he survived.
That
Yes.
he was not injured worse than what he was. But to the guy who bailed, where are you safe? You go to the stores. You can go.
My next guest is already here. Hey, yeah, no, I'm with you.
You gonna get him?
Yeah, he's downstairs. We're too late in the break now. He doesn't have time to do it and come back. Do you remember Tony's last name?
Tony.
That was in with Callihan a couple weeks ago.
Oh man, let's find out.
Fisher Collins.
Me?
Yeah. Callihan. Is that Mike's on?
Hell. 750 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We keep it moving here. Had to fly down the stairs and right back up again during the break right there. I got the text. Tony, Tony's in the house. Welcome back. How are you, man?
Doing well, brother.
Let's put. Gotcha. We got a lot going on for Veterans Week, don't we?
As usual, you know how we do it. Every year, Red Stick Veterans Week, we come in. We have a lot of fun to help our veterans, bring awareness to the incredible tragedy of veterans completing suicide, and how do we get veterans reintegrated into the workforce?
Right. How do we get veterans reintegrated into the workforce?
Multiple reasons. One, let go of stigmas. Veterans aren't crazy. Veterans aren't going to harm you. Veterans are really talented. Increase the awareness about how talented veterans are, how open they are, how multifaceted they are. Like all Americans, veterans are really proud to be here and ready to help support the American workforce.
All right, that brings us around to this week. It's a quick segment. I know you're down the hall a little bit later on, so we wanted to squeeze y'all in as best we could. What's going on this week?
So we have a full week of activities. So Veterans Day, of course, is Monday, November 11th. So 11/11, we're going to be volunteering all over the city, helping with veterans activities. November the 13th is our big kickoff with Helix Community Schools downtown at 10 to 12 at Helix with Helix at Royal Plaza. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got Smoke 'Em If You Got with Clay Young on November 14th, that Thursday at Don Juan's. And then the big event, concert, and a chili cook-off on November 16th at Southern University for the pregame activity that we're doing for their football game that we always do, their Veterans and Military Appreciation Game on Saturday, November 16th.
We got Tony Winters in with us talking about Veterans Week. It's a little bit different this year because normally when y'all come in, you got the 5K with the obstacle course and all that. It's coupled up right. But this year it was a little bit separated.
Spread it out. With our partners at the Marines, we did the 5K for the Toys for Tots. We did October the 20th when we came in and talked. It was fantastic. It was early. It was dark. It was fun. The Marines had a fantastic time with the obstacle course. They're funny as ever. We had DJ Cal with the music. It was so much fun. The kids really enjoyed it. They appreciated it. This is something they look forward to now. It's got a mind of its own, the Double Dog Dash. Now,
walking us back through the upcoming events for next week, I know you hit them very, very quickly. We've got literally just 2 minutes left, so I want to talk about first the big. There's a chili cook-off. Is that new to this thing?
Oh yeah, that's new.
Okay.
With the new beer that we showed you, that we showcased, the Bluff Brew. This year we have the capacity to do showcase this new beer. You get to taste the beer, you get to try sample of beer, and sample the chili. It's going to a great cause. Again, even for that, we're raising the money for Toys for Tots, so we'll give all of that to the Marines, 100% of it. And it's such a fun activity. Even I'm putting in 2 chilies because I'm trying to win my own competition.
Okay.
I'm doing a white chili, and then we're doing our famous winter-summer chili.
Okay.
So we have 2 chilies in my family, and if you want to compete, just go to Eventbrite and register to compete with your chili. But I bet you your chili can't beat mine.
And when is smoke? I have no doubt because my chili's horrible. I know my limitations. You put me on a grill and I'll run with anybody. You put me in front of the stove, in front of a stove. Yeah, my game drops off a good bit. You ask me to make a roux, you're in for it because it's just going to be bad. You mentioned Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em as well. When is that one coming up?
That's Thursday, November the 14th with Clay Young.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much fun. Again, we have some giveaways and some prizes there, but we do that for a great cause. The people at Don Juan's are so fun.
Yeah, Smoke 'Em is always a top-notch event. In fact, we'll probably get somebody back on, probably get Clay back on as we into next week to talk about it as well.
Definitely.
And partner with Clay Young, you never go wrong there.
I mean, he's incredible.
Everything he does is first class.
It is, and for him to take his massive brand and to partner with us to do a Smoke 'Em in the fall is fantastic.
Veterans Day coming up Monday and a whole week of events lined up. Tony Winters, appreciate you so much for a couple minutes.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. It's 8 o'clock. Here comes news.
Great to see y'all as usual.
Likewise. I'm sorry to squeeze you in such a
No,
tight segment right
bro.
there.
5 was plenty.
Kyle hit me up, and I was like, dude, we just had election day.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a special session going on right now that started yesterday.
I know.
I'm like, my schedule is so stacked up.
No.
And I'm like, I already.
And I told him, I said, bro, we can really even do it next week, but you know how Kyle goes on 10 at all times.
I didn't realize next week was an option, or I would have pushed him back.
Yeah,
I would have pushed the show back to Monday.
Yeah,
done a whole.
And Monday would be an ideal day. And if you're bored Monday, call me. Yeah, tell Kyle. Kyle will be in. He's going to Notre Dame, going to see the Notre Dame game. He's on a plane right now. He was on a plane when he texted you. So, but he's going to Notre Dame. But if you need me Monday, if you're like, hey, I don't have anybody else to shoot the breeze with. Everybody else is out on holiday.
How early is too early?
Monday's a holiday, so I'm not doing anything.
What,
Monday.
like in the 6 o'clock hour?
Oh, I can do that. That's better for me. 6 is better than 7 and 8 because traffic is a money.
Let's do this. I think we can do this. Yeah, let's shoot for like 6:50 on Monday morning.
Too
Maybe
easy.
an 8-minute segment.
Too
We'll
easy.
be good to go. Okay.
Yeah, too easy, brother. I
All right.
appreciate
No,
you
my
as
pleasure.
always.
Always.
Can we
Anything I
drink
can do.
beer that day?
Do what?
Can we drink beer Monday?
Yeah.
It's Veterans Day.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll bring you a cooler.
Yeah.
All right. Good to see you again. You want breakfast?
What?
Yeah. I got plenty of time. I took the morning off to hit y'all, then Condon, then I got Clay's show across the street.
Yeah.
So for me, going back and forth to the United Plaza, I was like, there's no way. I'm just going to hang out. It's easier for me to hang out around in this area than it is to be bouncing.
Well, and yeah, that was Kyle's big push since you're down the hall already.
Yeah.
Can we piggyback?
Yeah.
Was where we're at.
No,
So
that's perfect. No, I
Awesome.
appreciate you guys. All right, so Monday, 6:50. Got it locked.
we got you.
Cal the text. Hey, brother, how you doing?
What's up? I already closed it out.
Whoa, Haldane, JP.
What's happening?
Did you know that JP, your initials stand for one of the greatest popes ever? John Paul.
I got one interview to knock out before you.
Dude, this is horse shit.
It's not horse shit. It's Alex Craig.
We're running late then.
It's Michael Posey. It's the CEO of Wild Soul Salsa. Doing a favor for somebody because they're
On
buying.
my time?
No, before your time. Your time starts at 8:15.
You giving me 45 minutes?
Yes.
What am I going to do in 45 minutes? At least you're chipper today. At least you're not hungover. Look, it doesn't matter because you know what I brought you? You want dingleberry flavor or peach? Dingleberry, peach.
I'm looking with Dingleberry.
Hey, you ever heard a joke? Look. You ever see a joke? I'm all about kindness and generosity and compassion, dude. Did you ever see...
Oh,
yeah,
hey.
Thanks for the discount. Saw him at Harbor Freight or whatever that place he works at in the afternoon.
You work at Harbor Freight?
$28. I said, "Fuck, can you employee discount?" I can't do it. Did you ever see, I know y'all saw it, frickin' Cheech and Chong? He goes, the first one, he goes, "I got a trick for y'all." He gets up on the stage. "Look, Haldane." And he does like this. "Look, Brian." And he takes a napkin, he pulls over, and he goes, "Ain't that a peach?" I don't have my card on me, bro, but Haldane's got my number. Please get with me. Anything I can do to help you, I'll be happy to participate. We've been doing an old-fashioned stand at the golf course. So there's a history with Bank Franklin. I used to live out in the West End. And it turns out that his son-in-law used to be my mortgage broker when he was at a bank that they used to build. I'm a contractor. Going to a spec house. So that's the time. So we become actually good friends.
That should be him. Is that Michael Posey? Yeah, good. Right now. 8:06, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, this is, we're kind of leaving the rails this hour, y'all. This hour is going to be, coming up in our next segment, we're going to have Rocco, and he's with us for the rest of the hour. He's already in the house. I'm sure you hear him in the background. I apologize for nothing, but you know it's going to leave the rails. Before we get to Rocco, though, look, coming up Saturday is LSU versus Alabama. If you have not yet knocked out your tailgate shopping, might I recommend supporting a former LSU Tiger who is now an absolute growing into an Astros legend as well, supporting Alex Bregman. And that would be with Wild Soul Salsa. Joining us now to talk about it is Michael Posey, the CEO. Good morning. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian. How are you, man? I'm doing well.
I'm doing well as well. So, full disclosure, y'all sent me over a box with samples, which I already knew and loved because y'all were on with Matt Moscona a couple weeks ago, and I snuck in there and snagged whatever I could. So, thank you for the reconfirmation of loving the product right there.
Awesome. Glad you enjoyed it, and yeah, it was a good time with Matt and Terrio, just talking about Wild Soul. So thanks for having us on, man.
No, of course, absolutely. Love supporting a former Tiger. I want to talk a little bit about not moving from because he's still a baseball player, but taking that that personality, that brand, that name recognition, and utilizing it in the business world, and how Alex Bregman has done that, and how he continues to grow it.
Yeah, everybody knows Alex is a baseball player, right? Wildly successful. Don't know if all your listeners know, but he just won the Gold Glove for this past season, which is a huge shout out to him and all the work he puts in, not only with the stick, but, his glove. I mean, he's amazing in the field. But everybody knows that he is a successful baseball player, but what they don't know is just his business acumen. He's got an incredible business mind, naturally entrepreneurial. I mean, he's got a mind that just doesn't stop. And so he's constantly thinking about new ideas. And so it's a lot of fun to work with Alex. And not only Alex, but Reagan, his wife. Another incredible business mind. They're like a power duo. She started several businesses already that have been successful, and they're a power couple. It's fun to be around them, and take some of their ideas and try to bring strategy and tactics around it, and let them go be successful.
We're talking with Michael Posey from Wild Soul. This would be Alex Bregman's creation when it comes to salsa. Okay, Michael, I got to ask you, I know this is going to sound cheesy, but how much of this is Alex's? Like, is this his recipe? How hands-on was he in creating this?
Yeah, it's, sometimes people automatically assume, oh, he's just putting his name on it,
right.
But maybe the best way to explain it is 3 years ago, I get a call out of the blue, and it's Alex. He's like, and I always tell people this, but he's like, hey, Michael, my name's Alex Bregman. I play third base for the Houston Astros. I'm like, dude,
no kidding.
I know who you are, man. I know who you are. And so, but he reached out to me. He's like, man, hey, I had this licensing agreement with this company around salsa, and man, I am so jazzed about it. I want to figure out how to do my own thing. And so in the off season, that's when I really, me and him work, hand in hand together, him, Reagan, myself, and our team. And he's pretty hands-on in the off season. Now, in season, he is 1,000% baseball.
Right.
But coming up with the recipes, certainly we hired a chef. And so, we wanted to get somebody that really knew the ins and outs, working with various types of ingredients, and really, taking the vision that Alex had and really putting some expertise around it from a recipe standpoint. And so, but, we're creating the recipes in the kitchen, letting Alex and Reagan taste them, and then going back and forth. And that's a long process. These recipes took us, almost a year and a half to create. And so, but yeah, he's very hands-on.
We're talking with Michael Posey from Wild Soul Salsa. How did you get the name Wild Soul?
how do we get to the name?
Yes.
Yeah, great question. We wanted to, when you start from scratch and you're building a brand, you want it to be based upon the personality of both the founder and the team.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took a step back and we said, okay, well, what are the kind of the personality traits that not only drive us as a team and Alex as a person and individual, but how could we take those things and then wrap those up and put them into a brand? And, Alex is a guy that he doesn't think, necessarily traditionally. He wants to think, for himself. He wants to think entrepreneurially. And so this idea of let's be wildly different in the salsa category. We don't want to bring products into the retail market that are the same thing. We want to bring a different take. And so this idea of wild, really started popping. And then soul, there's kind of a play on the sun, but there's also a play on SOUL.
Right.
That we have a lot of depth to, who we are as a brand, what we want to accomplish as a brand. And so Wild Soul was just, when we saw it from our branding team, we're like, that's it. That's it.
We got just about 2 minutes left with Michael Posey from Wild Soul. Got to ask you, availability in Baton Rouge. I know y'all picked up over at, I want to say you started at Rouse's, but you're pretty much everywhere now, are you not?
Not quite yet, but it's coming. So we had an exclusivity with Rouse's. They're a great partner, of course, a staple retailer in South Louisiana and the Gulf Coast. And so they've been a great partner for us. But we did hit Sprouts shelves. I know you don't have a ton of Sprouts in South Louisiana, but we'll be hitting Albertson shelves later this month, early December. And then hopefully Walmart will be picking up later in the spring of 2025.
Well, right here on Mornings with Brian Haldane, we're partnered up with Mathern's, which is right there on campus. And I'm relatively certain y'all are there already?
Well, if we're not, we need to be.
Yeah, you need to be because it's the closest.
Mathern's is great. Yeah.
I mean, you're right there across the street from Tiger Stadium. You're right there a stone's throw from Alec Box. I mean, you can't be right next to Alec Bregman's backyard and, not have Wild Soul right there. Yes.
Well, maybe you'll send me a contact so I can reach out to him.
Done and done, sir. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that done. In the meanwhile, tailgating is going to be going on all day on Saturday. It's going to be a huge day on Saturday. So if you don't have your Wild Soul already, you need to get out there and get it. Michael, I appreciate a couple. Oh, by the way, just for clarification standpoint, the Mango Habanero is so next level. It is so, that is the best of the best that y'all have. It's awesome.
Nice. We get that a lot.
Sweet heat, man.
Sweet heat.
Darn right. It's called Wild Soul Spirited Salsa. Oh, the spirited part of that. Is that what adds in why spirited?
Yeah, so this is one of our main differentiators. So we actually use tequila in all four of our salsas. And so we're partnered with Flecha Azul Tequila, which is owned by Abraham Answer, Aaron Marquez, as well as Mark Wahlberg. How that partnership came about was Alex, good buddies with Wahlberg, and so when we were standing up our brand and our product and differentiation, and like, hey, y'all got to use our tequila, and they were a perfect partner. One of the fastest growing additive-free tequilas in the market today. Great tequila. But for all the listeners out there, like it does burn out, so there's no alcohol in the.
Sadly, or else I'd just be drinking it.
Yeah, right. But it does. We tasked our chef to really utilize the tequila to bring out flavor notes. So there's a reposado tequila in the Mango Habanero. Yep. There's a mezcal in the Verde, and then there's tequila blanco in the two reds.
Is that where the smoky in the Verde comes from?
Absolutely.
Bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah. On point. All four of the different Wild Soul varieties are on point. But yeah, I got my favorite to be sure. He is Michael Posey. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
Always. Yep. 8:16 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're running a couple minutes late. Rocco's in the house next. Buckle up.
What's up, Hal? Haldane?
What's happening, brother?
Do I get to take some of this home?
Not the mango habanero, but if you want another one,
That shit's good.
Yeah,
That sounds good. I like the
do you
green.
want the mango habanero?
No, I'm picking. But I'll take one of the other ones. I eat the chips and dip all the time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I was just being gregarious in nature. It's just me. I can't help myself. I'm not using headset today because I'm not making anything. So I need my mic hot. Testing. One. Testing.
On Facebook right
One.
now.
Testing. One.
So they hear you.
Look, just so you know, people of Facebook, this here takes a lot of work in the morning to get up and to look this darn good. A couple of years ago, I was a little bit heavier. I came and did a show with the same shirt on, but it was a different size.
Nice.
I strolled in here, Halloween. Actually, it was the week before Halloween. Looking like the great pumpkin from Charlie Brown. But now, brother, JP, I have cleansed the spirit.
I like that.
And I have purified the temple.
Yeah.
And the rest of my life, I'm going to try to save my soul, brother. Because there's only one person that can do it.
That's it.
But he sees me now, and I see him
Yes.
every day. You know it.
Yeah.
You think I'm crazy, bro?
No, absolutely not.
You think I'm crazy? Dilly-gaff.
Like, no.
Even if you do, dilly-gaff. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, you remember?
Yeah.
Follow the train, bro.
I got you. I'm on it.
I don't need that. I'm not
on the
making
train.
anything.
You want to stay on?
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm on the
we-
train.
We could talk about
You're
it,
the
but I'm not. I
conductor.
mean,
That's what
I
I'm-
didn't even
that's
heat
what
it
it
up. You got zap in the microwave. We brought you some fresh French bread.
Awesome. What does this thing have in the microwave?
Well, you have to put it in the microwave. It's cold. It's gumbo. I'm sorry, gumbo and red beans. Chicken and sausage. Andouille chicken and sausage gumbo. And I'll talk a little bit about what makes our gumbo really good.
Uh-huh.
I'll talk a little bit about what our red beans. And I'll allude to the fact that I'm kind and generous and gave you beans for your family.
Yes.
I hope they flagellated the whole time.
No.
I hope they walked. I
No.
hope Jimbo walked over to you, sat on your lap, and ripped one.
No. I said James.
You know what I like about chili?
What?
I tell it to Rocco all the time when he's playing baseball. All right, bro, when he goes up to bat. If there's ducks on the pond, you know what I tell him?
What?
Son, be like chili. Give us the runs. I'm going to be here for another 45 minutes.
Yeah, you are.
We're going to run late.
Yeah.
I already told Flynn. I saw him in a parking lot.
Okay.
I'm not making
I'm ready
it.
for it.
He was in his truck. He let me in.
I'm ready for it.
I said, Flynn, I'm running late. I'm running late.
Okay. No, it's Thursday.
It is Theology Thursday, not just Thursday, baby.
819 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right. As promised, in the house, we have the Minister of Meat, the Reverend of Roast Beef, the Pastor of Po' Boys, Rocco. What's happening, brother?
Did you come up with that all by yourself?
I did.
You know who I really am?
Who?
I'm Lord Protector of the faith
Mm-hmm.
and defender of the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
I am the armor of God, and I wear it every day.
That's why we're here today.
That's why we're here. It's Theology Thursday, but we will still be serving food and talking about food. Now,
Well, I understand, but
now-
we're going to cover a number of topics today.
oh, well.
I mean, it's also an election week.
Put on your seatbelt. It's time for blast off. Let me just talk to you about the election, the presidential for number one.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why she lost more than anything.
Why?
I'm going to sum it up for you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Our God sees everything.
Okay.
Okay? There's been a lot of prayer. A lot of people prayed because I'll tell you, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, whether you're Republican or Democrat, everything was at stake in this election. Everything. Our position in the world, our military, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw the two rallies. I'm sure you saw them. J.D. Vance was there. And who did she deny in front of the world?
Somebody yelled out that Jesus Christ is Lord, and she said, you're at the wrong rally.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you went the one up the street with the smaller crowd.
Uh-huh. Now, wouldn't you love to be at the pearly gates? Now, let's be honest. You know me. I'm going to have to probably spend a little time in purgatory. I'm doing my best trying to not do that. But if I'm there that day and I'm already past and I'm up there and he walks out, what do you think he's going to tell her?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't pretend to know.
And so guess what?
Yeah.
Repentance, brother.
I don't understand.
I love her.
I understand.
I love her. I prayed for her after she said that. And I'm hoping the Holy Spirit will do to her what he did to me, to you, and so many men of the Acts ministry, and so many men of the Catholic Church. Because you know what Catholic means, right?
What does Catholic mean?
Universal.
Yeah. It's the original. The OG.
Over 40,000 religions. What doctrine has never changed, brother, since inception? Yeah. I'm retreat ready, baby. Let's go. I'm going to steal Kelly Walker's freaking fifth wheel, and I'm going right now. You coming?
No, it's next weekend. It's a week. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend.
Okay, well.
I'll be down there on Thursday.
Well, you know, it's 7 days away. 7, because 7's the perfect number. But look,
so tomorrow it won't be perfect?
Look, at 7 is the perfect number, and it's 7 days away. That's all I'm saying.
No, I understand that.
Now, look, how many of these did I bring you?
You brought 7.
Gumbo and red beans and rice, which we were happy to donate some to the Haldane family the last time I was on my show.
Can I say this for just a quick second?
I don't know.
Your red beans are underrated, boss. There's never going to be a day where I walk into Rocco's New Orleans Po' Boys and get myself red beans. You do too many great sandwiches. There's never going to be a day where I opt for the red beans, but they are so good.
That's very kind of you to say.
It's so good. Like
you ate them on Monday because you was doing your laundry.
You do red beans on
a
Monday.
You was doing
That's
your
right.
Laundry.
Yeah.
And I hope Jimbo went over to you, sat on your lap, and ripped one. I'm just saying. So we've got 7.
Jimbo, I don't think he's adapted.
I have my own vernacular.
He won't stay on. He won't get to Jimmy. He's sticking with James.
All right. How about I call him James?
James,
son of thunder.
One of the sons of thunder.
Who was the other one?
John.
What was his real name?
John.
No, the other guy.
James.
That was his real name?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, just check.
They were Zebedee's kids.
My man Haldane with the scripture, baby. That's what I love about you.
I watched The Chosen.
And, you know, I'm so happy you're chipper today and you're awake and you're having a good time. You needed some coffee last time I was here. I mean, I was going so fast, I had to slow myself down because I was like, come on, man. Come on, hop on the bus.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
You want me to speak Spanish to you?
No.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah, pretty sure.
How's your Red Bull?
It's really good.
It's an Alani.
Yeah, Alani. Is that Alani New? Is that what it's called?
Alani, that is the boysenberry flavor.
Breezeberry.
Boysenberry. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's the schnozberries.
Boysenberries.
Boysenberries are real. Schnozberries are real.
And I was telling my man JP off the air, look at the temple, bro. How's the temple looking?
You're looking good.
This is an XL shirt.
Yeah?
The last time I came in this color, about a year and a half ago, it was a 3XL.
Was it now?
They had to get extra fabric just to make the shirt. I busted in here looking like the Great Pumpkin from Charlie Brown.
Well, it was salmon. That's more salmon than orange.
Hey, just work with me on
I'm
this for a
working
second.
with you on this, but I can't lie to the Facebook audience because they can see you.
They can't see. They don't know what's going on.
They
It's
can
you and
see
I.
you
and me.
Yeah.
Where's my logo? Put my logo up. I like looking at myself.
Let's go ahead and put the logo up on there. Yeah.
So I was getting back to the beans and then the gumbo.
Yeah.
The gumbo.
Yeah.
One of the best gumbos. And you know how I know?
How?
The bishop himself came in and ate it.
Bishop Munch?
Duca,
the new bishop.
Yeah,
he's not the new bishop anymore. I gotta stop that.
He stopped that. He's the bishop.
Yeah.
He threw a blessing on you sitting down.
Yeah.
He did it for me.
Yeah.
I said, you gonna stand? I said, I can do it
No.
I'm the bishop.
No, the way you tell that story versus the way others tell that story is completely different.
Well, you know, I've always told you I have my own vernacular and I make up my own words.
No, it's not
the road
about
of
that.
Embarkation. Lactose intolerable. I could go on, but you know what I'm talking about when I say.
I know.
Do you speak Rocco?
To have others tell the story, when the bishop was
They're
in
all
the house,
lies.
you had him bless everything.
There's all lies.
You had him bless You had him bless the Coke machine. You had him bless the.
You can never have enough blessings from a priest or anybody.
You had him bless
a bishop. Prayers from your brothers in
the
Christ.
latest
your
delivery
sisters in
of
Christ,
bread.
Whatever.
You had him bless the beef and the ham separately, and eventually it's like, Rocco, I'll tell you what. Here, I just blessed the whole place.
I'm good.
I'll just bless the whole place all at once.
Did you know I called him out again?
What?
That was the time they were picking up the food, Catholic
For
High.
Catholic- yeah.
Okay, when they played the state playoff game last year, before the game that year. And I said, they picking it up right now. You want to go in the kitchen?
And bless that too. He's like,
I'm a bishop, man.
The blessing goes through the door.
Yeah. And then he throws it on me. He's sitting at the Sicilian table.
Uh-huh.
He goes, you ain't 100% Italian. I said, well, my last name's Moro. You're right. I got a little French in me. He goes, I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I can be called all the way back to Sicily, Palermo, and Cefalo.
Okay.
And I was going to say, well, what do you mean? You can be made? Is that what he's alluding to? I don't know.
I don't think a bishop can be made.
He could be a bishop, chaplain. Yeah. Every soul needs saving. Every sinner's a saint, and every saint's a sinner.
No, it's every saint has a past and every sinner has a future.
And we all searching for that piece of bread. Prisoners of our own problems.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Save your spirit. Purify your temple. Try to rescue your life to save your soul. Woo! So let's talk about this in all honesty.
We are gonna get to it. We got Gumbo.
Well, I'm running
and
short on
Regine.
time. You were a little late today.
No,
Little
I was
tad
not.
bit?
No.
No?
No.
Did I come early?
No.
I didn't even make this day in history. What did y'all talk about?
We skipped this day in history to talk with Michael
That
Posey
is-
from Wild Soul Spirited Salsa because when Alex
that's
Bregman's
good
got
salsa.
you had the mango
It's
habanero.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
And I love salsa. It's really good.
But this is Bregman's thing. So
he's involved in this company.
yeah, Alex Bregman owns the company.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Good for him.
yeah.
You
I
know,
figured, you know what?
You got millions. You might as well get in the restaurant industry, do whatever. I mean, put the money out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you make more money, right? You take that money, you make more money with the money.
Well, you find where your passion's at, and then you grow it from there.
Yeah, and the truth is, man, and I had a discussion with a friend of mine's son about this the other day, man. Whatever it is, there's one thing you always have wanted to do your life.
Yeah.
Your entire life. Like, even when you go to college, you're studying all these classes. I mean, in Roman theology, one class, as an elective, talking about this, that, and that. What was this? Business calculus. I couldn't even tell you how I passed the class. I took it 3 times, passed it on the 4th. I had to drop it 3 times. 3 times.
Well, okay.
But, I mean, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And my passion would never be fulfilled unless I did that. So if you're listening out there, look, even if you want to be an actor, a painter, don't ever let anybody take your grace from you. If that's what you want to do, just like you've always wanted to be in radio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How I met you at college, whatever. Then producing shows. I'm going in, and I actually did a show one time myself for somebody. I think it may have been Jimmy Ott, and you were producing
over there when I was at Clear Channel way
That's
back
correct.
in the day. Yep,
That-
yep.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
And so the role, I was still good back then, wasn't I? I was good. Huh? I was
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
Huh? It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am. No, I'm kidding. Humble yourself.
Total humility.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because this retreat that we were talking about, the Acts Ministry, if you want to tell the listeners what it's about.
Okay,
I mean,
yes,
I
Acts
don't know.
is a Catholic ministry. Well, it's open to non-Catholics if you want
Everybody
to go to it
can
as well.
come. Every Christian.
There's a men's version and a women's version. It stands for Adoration, Community, Theology, and Service. We're going to talk about adoration in the next segment, by the way.
And we're going to talk about,
the severity of adoration crossed over with Baton Rouge crime.
Right. And there's a very poignant statement I want to make about that.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
That too.
But no, there's a retreat coming up from Our Lady of Mercy. That's going to be next weekend, the men's retreat, and you're on the team. I'm riding the bus.
You riding the bus?
I'm riding the bus.
So I see you. I see you there.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you.
It's been an influence. It's been a life-changing influence for a lot of guys.
Oh my gosh.
In fact, you know who?
Life change. Let me rephrase that for me. It saved my life.
Yeah.
It saved my life. If you're listening out there, I'm gonna say it saved my life, and I'm not the only one.
We had a break real quick.
Absolutely. Take a
Rocco's
break.
in the
Pay
house.
some bills. We got to pay some bills.
We got a lot to talk about.
All right,
Gumbo
Gordy
is among those things. That's
All right.
next. Here's news.
All right. But yeah, these cats, bro. And I'm gonna talk about this a little bit right now. Matt, now you've known me forever.
Yeah.
On this team, I know 7 guys. The rest of them, I never knew any of them.
Well, you can't meet anymore because then it won't be perfect.
Well, names and numbers. It is not. Look, Father Steve told me to be careful with it. He said, "Look, this numerology thing. You even
I tell you about it all the time,
brother. 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, 33.
I understand.
King David ruled for 33. Look, names and what they mean, and significance and relativeness of the names in the Scripture of the people and who they are, man. You know, how many jars were at the wedding at Cana? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
There were 6.
Okay.
The 7th was the one that was going to make the miracle happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
That's why he only asked for 6. Do you know who the couple was that got married?
No, I don't, and I've always wondered that, and I've asked a number of different people.
They are never named. Because
Yeah, okay.
That's when he performed his first miracle.
Okay.
And that's why
Public. First
Correct.
public miracle.
Correct. And that's why
Very
you
big
have to
differentiation.
get married in a church in front of him.
Because a lot of people believe that the first actual miracle that he ever performed was exorcising Mary Magdalene.
It's just the same thing. A lot of people think he hears confessions. A lot of people think he does not hear your. You know how many confessions he heard? 0. You know how many baptisms he did? 0. The confession part is the most relevant part. Okay,
John the
that's
Baptist
why.
handled the baptisms.
Correct,
why
and
it's
that's
got the
why
name.
you have to go. He said in Scripture, "I will have priests and bishops, and they will take your petitions and bring them to me." You cannot go straight to him ever.
No.
That's what confession is for.
Right, and
that's why he never heard one.
And there's a reason for that, because non-Catholics believe that you can confess straight to God without going through a priest. But the truth of the matter is, you need the accountability.
Well, why do you go to church, man?
Why do I go to church?
You go to
personally?
pray and everything, but it's the sense of community. You go there, and everybody that sees you there is in the same boat as you, doing the same thing. And that support and that love from them through the Holy Spirit while you're there is what the community is all about. And our community is under assault right now. It's under a direct assault. And the adoration is a big tie-in. Because this, more than any retreat, I've talked about adoration constantly. Constantly. You know why?
Why?
Because I know he's in there. You in there. He's in there. The Holy Spirit is in that place.
No.
And that's why that guy was sitting in there.
The Son, and the whole
Trinity.
Trinity.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's not just the Holy
The
Spirit.
mantras, the
contains
crucifix, everything.
The body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ.
And he's
Yes.
trying to create fear. The devil's doing it to try and prevent people from going because he knows
he's
it's
successful
there.
because one guy dropped out of our group.
There you go. Okay? So that's why you need to be brave and vigilant now. Now, I will tell you, I'm in there very early in the morning.
Oh.
You know that.
I see you there.
And I'm in there almost every day.
I don't know that because I'm only in there one Saturday
The
a
only
month.
day I typically miss, if any, is Friday a lot because of work. And it's difficult for me to get there on Fridays. But if I was in there and that dude came in, and first of all, if he came in and saw me, he would have never done that. I don't care how crazy
No,
he is.
he saw an 81-year-old man.
That's
and
correct.
yeah.
What a P word.
Yeah.
Okay? Go pick on a freaking old guy. But if I'd have walked in on it, in order to be peaceful, you got to be capable of great balance, brother. And I was just that dude at one point in my life. And I'm not bragging. In order to give an ass whipping, you had to have taken a few. And I've taken mine. But I would have killed him. I'm just telling you. Oh, I would have beat him into submission, choked him out, something. But I'll be darned if I would have let him beat up that man.
Right.
Now, what's the other scenario? Say it's a lady walking in.
Mm-hmm.
What happens then? Does he attack the lady too? Probably. So they need to lock that place down. They need to have keys to get in or a code. Period.
See, I disagree with that.
Nope.
I disagree with that.
Nope.
Christ should not be kept under lock and
Well,
key.
you shouldn't live under fear, but in this society, the way it is now, and I don't.
The moment
I'm not worried.
The moment you do that, the devil has won.
That could be a valid point in some senses, okay? And I will give you the flip side of that for me. I'm not afraid. But there's that little lady and that dude that dropped out in your group that is, okay? And because of it, the devil won. So you have to really take into consideration what's the big picture, having people in there. And if they don't feel safe and secure, they're not going to go. And if you got to lock it down, Father Beard's church when he was at St. Helena, you had to get a key. I got one in my pocket. Same thing to go to Our Lady of Hope. And I'll tell you why.
The lock and key of St. Helena?
I'll tell you why. because the majority of the people in his church are Protestant. Okay?
Mhm.
Not his, I'm talking about his church, not Father Beard. The church Father Beard, yes, was at,
Mhm.
but most of them are Protestant. And so that's why he would never allow a Eucharistic minister to give the Eucharist to anybody, because he wanted to put it in your mouth, and he knew who the Protestants were, and he knew who the Catholics were.
Which is why he wasn't close to Baton Rouge.
Well,
kinda
I mean, but what are you going to do? He's struggling. He's got 500 families in his parish. He's trying to keep the church alive, you know? In Mercy, they got 5,500. There's a big difference.
All right, let's get a look at that forecast real quick. Here's what we've got going on. There is a 20% chance of rain today and a high of 87. Tomorrow, slightly cooler. 84 is your high with a 20% chance of rain. Now, Saturday, game day, it's stepping up to a 70% chance of rain and a 70% chance of rain on Sunday as well. Your high on Saturday, 83. Your high on Sunday is 80. Looking ahead to next week, we might see highs in the 70s for Monday and Tuesday before it starts to creep back up again.
I'm praying for that.
If I'm looking ahead all the way to the following weekend, we're going to have highs in the low 70s for a couple days as well. Right now, it's cloudy at 77 in downtown Baton Rouge.
Bring it. My gosh, it's been just ridiculously hot, dude. Just ridiculously hot. But to finish up on that point, yeah, you have to have a car to get in, and that's why. Because, you know.
Yeah, I'm just on the other side on that one. I said,
Hey, look.
And there's no right answer.
Have I not
Come
always told you, you do you, and I'll do me?
Yeah. No,
You're
I'm
entitled to your
there with
opinion.
you.
This is America.
Rocco's in the house.
This is America.
It is
That's
left
why.
the rails. It's a bit of a Theology Thursday
Oh,
today.
it is an
We're going to
absolute
talk about
Theology
Gumbo and red
Thursday,
beans in
for
a little
sure.
bit. We're going to talk about a couple of other headlines floating around.
Just
but-
the heat.
so-
Just the heat. Can I
Rock-
say something
What?
about the heat?
What?
You know, it's like I alluded to earlier. I used to be a little bit bigger. I lost a little weight.
Mm-hmm.
My shadow killed a small dog one time. But I'm going to tell you, I've had enough. I have had enough of the heat. I've been having to carry a ham sandwich in my back pocket just to sustain my weight. I'm done. I want it to be cold.
What you can do about the heat? What can you do?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe global warming, cosmics. I don't know.
I
The
just said
space
there might be a
station.
little bit of climate change involved.
Something's happening. I don't know what's going on.
Or we just have later summers and later winters.
Enough already.
Yeah.
I digress. Please
Yeah.
continue.
Tell you
This
what,
is
though,
your show.
you saw we had Hurricane Rafael's out there, and
No me
crazy,
gusta
man.
Rafael.
It was headed right towards us,
Algunos
Rocco.
se hay mucho lluvia y viento también.
The joke I've been making all morning, this storm was headed towards us until Election Day. You think Trump's not shutting down the border? Even the hurricane can't cross the border.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
You know, JP, I'm going to give him his just due.
Okay.
This man comes up with some stuff sometimes.
Right.
And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know why?
Well,
We hang around each other.
Well, a little
You
bit.
know me.
a little bit.
But go ahead with what you were going to talk about, because this is really significant. And
All right, we were talking during the break about,
in the break.
and this is
FaceTime
I know
people heard,
we're
Facebook
so
people
far
heard.
away from like any headlines or anything. Well,
Yeah,
we're not.
yeah.
We're not really. There was a story we talked about in Crimestoppers in our last
Mhm.
hour about how a guy he's been arrested. So good. His name's William Brim, the third, 40 years old. He's on arrested on charges of aggravated battery, institutional vandalism, cruelty to the infirm, and aggravated criminal damage to property, as well, and aggravated burglary as well.
Complete scumbag.
Right. He busts up
Dirtbag.
into an adoration chapel and beats the you-know-what out of an 81-year-old. Throwing chairs at him, beating him with his own
81-year-old man.
cane, an 81-year-old man.
Think
Yeah.
he'd have done that to you,
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think he would have had the chance.
In order to be, remember I told you?
And-
in order to be peaceful, you got to be capable of great violence.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, the thing is about that, Haldane, and, you know, to talk about our team for this axe retreat that we're going on, these men have truly stepped up in all aspects of the game. This has been a beautiful formation.
Mhm.
Beautiful. And we're all ready to go now
Yeah.
to this retreat. That's how stoked we
That's
are.
how it should be.
Absolutely. And it's different every time you do it, because you've done it like I have many times.
Mhm.
And so, but I'll tell you, I've never been prouder of a group of men. I'm telling you, the battle cry came and these guys stepped up. And, you know, a lot of them are now going to adoration. So as the devil is working, trying to make you fear the adoration chapel and not want to go there, we're rebuilding the army as he's doing it, and we're going to meet him at the foot of the cross, brother.
So let's talk about this from a philosophical.
You want to go some theology on this?
I want to ask you. I want to ask you this philosophical question.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't want to narrow it down to just Catholicism with the Adoration Chapel because nobody else is going to have that.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I get you.
Should there be armed guards at church?
Well, there already is. Because there are people that I know within the community that have concealed carry license, and they wear them all the time. So it's already there. You just don't know it. That much I can tell you. But armed security guards, I don't know. I guess proximity would dictate that. If you're in a crime-ridden area, But look, here's the thing: it doesn't matter where you are. Crime is everywhere.
I understand that.
And there are people that, unfortunately, because of the mental health care system that we have, and we don't pay enough time and attention and money. There are policies that people do not even have mental health coverage for Blue Cross and all these major companies. You got to pay extra. What?
It's super expensive, and the market is so underserved in Baton Rouge.
So if we had more of that, you wouldn't have as much as this.
Correct.
That's a fact.
Correct.
Okay, but it doesn't matter where you are. The devil's always going to go after people that know the word and that know the truth.
Okay.
Because that's just how he is. He destroys families, relationships, and lives. That's what he feeds on. He wouldn't come after you if you didn't have it in you.
Now, follow that up with talking about concealed carry, and if you're going to shoot somebody who's coming into church to shoot other people, I got to ask, if you're fighting man's battle on man's ground, haven't you ceded the overall battle here? You're there to put your full faith and worship into the Lord. That's why you're at church. You're not at church to be an armed guard. You're not at church to be a marshal that's going to gun somebody down. Your focus is on the front.
Well, and there's a lot of validity to that, Haldane, because you put all your burdens and your trust.
I sound like such a
in
pacifist,
the Lord.
don't I?
No, you have to hear both sides of it. Because there's that guy or that lady out there that needs to hear it. That's why you're speaking it now, because he's speaking through you.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's a fact. But you don't live in fear, just like you don't look in the rearview mirror. Yesterday was yesterday.
That's right.
All the devil wants to do is keep you in the past. There is a future for you, and he is always laying the foundation for something greater for you. Okay? And that goes for everybody that's listening to this. Okay, that's really the truth. And so people are like, Rocco, or people, when you talk about religion, one of the things with the mayoral election, Sid's a very faithful man. And I don't know much about Sharon Broom, but I believe
she has her faith as well.
100%. I will tell you, I will never speak indifferently to that lady. She has been nothing but kind to me, and I voted for her before. Okay, and so I'm not going to tell you when, where, how, or whatever, but there was reasons why, because there were certain things that I became kind of tight with her. And now, Sid's running, and Sid's running for all the right reasons. He's running to unify. Okay? Running to unify. Now, people say, hey, he doesn't have a lot of political experience. He has
zero political experience.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So my point is, though,
he's the first one to tell you that.
He's trying to bring all ethnicities, all colors, it takes the community. That's the only thing that's going to fix this parish. Everybody fighting the same battle from the same reason.
Did you just turn this topic into an endorsement?
No, I'm not endorsing anybody.
Okay.
I'm not telling anybody who to vote for. You vote your conscience.
We remain neutral on that front.
And we talked about that earlier. That's right.
Everyone has the opportunity to sound off.
You ought to know by what I said earlier about the election for the presidential campaign who I voted for. Okay? And you understand why.
Pretty clear.
But I look for that in people. If you see the light in them, then there's something there that has to be listened to, okay? And that's what I'm trying to say. You vote your conscience. You do whatever's best for you, no matter who you are, where you're from, or what color you are. But the one thing you shouldn't do is look at somebody and base your vote on the color of their skin. You're supposed to love everybody the same, man. Yes. And if we battle together, we change the world, and not enough people think that way. And until that happens, we're going to keep being what we are.
I'm working so hard in my brain right now to segue this back into Gumbo, and I don't know how.
I can do it. I'm a man of many words.
There's the obvious one. Okay, take the obvious one. Go for it.
Well,
a melting pot. It's a melting pot, Rocco. That's where we're going. Like a good red bean, we got to soak up all the cultures.
But the truth is, man, I will tell you, alluding back to the bishop earlier, quote unquote, Rocco, I go and try everybody's gumbo. That's the first thing I try at every restaurant I go to.
Okay.
Their gumbo is fantastic.
Okay.
If it's good enough for him, it should be good enough for you.
Should be.
But the truth is, it's obviously made in-house. The red beans are made in-house. And again, you have to understand, there's a science to food in every aspect of it, okay? And so the way we make our gumbo, certain things we do, which I can't tell you, but I mean, it is made with a roux, and we do the same thing that a normal person would do. But if you're from Louisiana, you can't make a good gumbo or red bean, you better bolt and go make cheese in Wisconsin.
Now, I'm
or get a baked potato in Idaho.
I mentioned this last hour as well when talking about the chili
I
cook-off.
heard you about not being able to make a roux. Come to the restaurant.
I'm terrible at it. I'm just impatient.
Go buy you some stuff in the jar, Savoirs or something, man.
No, yeah, there's no shame
It's
in
always
that.
better when it's homemade, but you're from Louisiana. What's wrong with you, man?
I'm impatient.
All right.
I got 3 kids. I got 3 jobs.
Good sausage, highly smoked flavor. Not just, don't go and get you some Hillshire Farms. Go to a local butcher. There's plenty of them. And get you some good smoked sausage, right? And you got to use thigh meat.
Yeah, you do.
You don't put a white of meat.
That part I know.
No blanco pollo, okay? That means white chicken.
I figured that.
Okay? Yeah. It's got to be dark meat. And you got to let it cook for a long time.
Correct.
And let
all
the
these things are
effervescence and
correct.
the flavors. You know, in Louisiana, we can go into a swamp. We can stick our hand in the water, and whatever it is we pull out, we can cook it.
And according to Lieutenant Governor Nungesser, have a festival for it.
Sure, absolutely.
He said, he was on last week. He said if you can cook it, kill it, or dance to it, we have a festival for it.
That's absolutely right. And so, of course, the next is staple red beans, which again you had with your family.
Okay. So
you love the red beans.
Here's the difference.
Yeah,
Yes, I love your red beans. I can
beans.
make red beans.
You like it
because
sauce?
it doesn't. You don't have to stay. You don't have to pay attention to it. You can leave
Yeah.
a red bean alone, and the red bean is going to do what the red bean does. Gumbo, you have to give it constant attention.
Sure.
You have to
Stir it.
Yeah.
Baby it.
Yeah.
Cultivate it. Emasculate it. Whatever
I don't think you emasculate it. No.
Okay.
No.
So anyway.
By the way, I got to ask
now look,
this
the
as a
red
side
beans.
note.
Let me tell you about the red beans though. Camellia kidney beans.
Yeah.
Soak your beans. Soak your beans. Don't go get some canned beans, baked bean. I mean, some Bush's, kidney beans.
Hey,
no,
no.
Don't trust me on this.
I've been to Bush's Baked Beans.
Look, you stick the radio.
We've been to the factory.
Look, I'm not saying that their baked beans aren't good. They're maple and ham baked bean with the cinnamon sugar in it. Oh man, that's my go-to when I'm queuing up, bro. I'm just telling you. That is what you call
I gotta find it.
Money in the bank.
Yes,
money in the bank. But I got to tell a story about JP. JP, look. Sorry, Haldane. Were you there when the Pope came to New Orleans in '84?
Yeah.
He came to the Union Lakefront Arena. Bro, I saw a lot of concerts there, man. AC/DC. That was back in the day when I was a metalhead. Judas Priest. Oh, so anyway, the Pope comes one day. It's in '84, '85. I think I'm in like 7th, 8th grade, maybe not. I can't remember. I'm old. I'm 55. 55 years old. Anyway, how many minutes we got?
You got 20 seconds till break.
20 seconds. Long story short, man shows up. It's storming. Torrential storm. I want to mention mucho lluvia también. It's everything. He gets on the podium. The skies open up and a ray of sunshine. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. Strike me dead right now. I'm waiting.
We got to break.
People that were there heard it.
Here comes
They
your
know
money
it.
now on Talk 107.3. We're going to soak our beans.
You don't soak your beans?
Yeah, we soak our beans.
I mean, you don't soak
Bro, who
your
do you
beans?
think I am?
What's wrong with y'all, man? Guy can't make a roux. Can you make jambalaya? Yeah, I see him on a commercial. You met him?
That's from the factory.
Well,
no,
that's
we
just-
didn't. Look, that's on the wall. It said the Bush's Baked Beans plant.
Dude, they do have very good baked beans. I meant like, just people buy the Blue Runner, and that's just garbage, dude.
No. You soak them.
Come on, man.
White beans different.
White beans a little different. They're red
that's
beans.
the only ones I eat. No, that's the only ones I eat.
They're red beans. Something's off with them. I think they changed.
Can
the
I
plan.
try some of this while we're here?
Here, what you want? I'll wrap it up. I want gumbo. What you want? Gumbo. Somebody, Condon said he wants beans. lid on it. Just put the lid on it, not all the way on it like that. Trust me. And then it'll get to the side and around, and it's a styro, man. The middle will be cold if you heat it with nothing on top. It's amazing what you learn being a veteran of the restaurant industry for all these years.
You got rice in there?
Oh my gosh, these guys, dude. What's the problem? Jesus.
You gotta ask me why you're in on Thursday and not Friday when we come back.
What?
When we come back, you gotta ask me why you're in on Thursday and not Friday.
Okay. Why am I not here? Okay. Ask you that. Okay. Just out of curiosity, Mr. Haggai. Okay.
I love bread.
Dude, let me tell you something. And I'll talk about this on the air about the bread. So when it's really hot, remember we talked about the bread doesn't proof, it doesn't rise as much. You watch when it gets cold. Next time I come and it's cold, I'm going to bring you a loaf of the bread. Well, I'm going to have a sandwich probably next time. And it just, it's like the bread from back home. You can't get the pole bread up here because the problem with the pole bread, if you don't use it all that day, it's good. So they can use it in the ones because they know what they use. They can figure out how much they use.
We need like tiny cups for samples. If sales in sports come down. Bruh. Oh, there's the rice. Oh, wow. Holy crap, y'all. Okay. I said the sandwiches are so good. The po' boys are so good that I was never going to order beans. This really, I might do the gumbo. Oh, man. Oh, it's so good.
I've got, this is the one with the special seasoning in it for you. And got the
Thank you,
special
Rod.
sauce.
Sauce. Appreciate
There you
you,
go.
Rod.
Here's a spoon.
Yes, indeed.
You want me to eat it for you too?
Yeah,
Here you go. Look, you want some bread?
When I get done, I'll be
I
right
know you
with
ain't
you.
eating bread, huh? Are you eating bread? Are you eating bread?
No, give me a hug.
I ain't hugging you.
Like you making fun of my forehead.
Here,
Well, you
here,
shouldn't.
here. Look, yeah, but I got hair. You're bald. That's a toupee you wear. Do you want bread? Seriously. You know?
Because then I'm going to have to borrow your shirt.
Oh. Richard.
Wow.
Richard.
Shots fired.
You know,
I'm going to the
Bruh.
Catholic high game.
Dude, I love you. So
He's-
is he.
My daughter's
He's-
been cheering.
Big forehead
Is she
itself.
really? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, man. She's been
She's
cheering.
in St. Joseph?
She's at the
I'll see you
academy.
there.
Can I borrow
Where's she going?
Yeah. They.
Hey,
You in
Rod, thanks,
college?
brother.
My pleasure. Good to see you. Tell your bride I said hi. I'm serious. And your son. I hadn't seen him forever. Your daughter, too. Tell her I said hi. Tell them all I said hi.
Whole family.
Hey, do me a favor. Don't let him drink so much coffee in the morning. He's a little... Dude, he has not changed since day one. You see where I get it from? It's the New Orleans. The Irish Channel. The
Yeah.
Ninth Ward. Turn
Kill
the
him,
mic.
kill him, kill him.
the mic. that an FCC violation?
856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Got a little Theology Thursday rolling right along as we got Rocco
So good
in the
to be here.
house.
Thank you for inviting me in. Look, I'm just, it's going to be a pleasure seeing you and being with you the next week. 7 days out. 7's the perfect number. 6 gumbos and red beans.
Yeah.
No. We had 7
There were
total,
7.
and I gave it to.
Well, there's 3 left.
Who was the last guest you had? Fantastic organization, by the way.
Oh, what, Wild Soul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the gentleman that spoke about the vets.
Tony.
Yes, Tony. And that was really good because I had an issue with one of my friends, like I was telling y'all, that had succumbed to
Well, I mean, we talked about
suicide.
mental health earlier, and it's a forefront, and veterans understand veterans, and that's why we try to talk about as much as we can around here.
The sad thing, if I could just say this about my buddy, is that because the insurance, he couldn't go to whoever he wanted to, so he had to go to the Veterans Administration, and it wasn't, I think, the ample care that he needed, and I think that was part of the problem. But it's a great organization, man. Get out there and fund it. And the sauce is fantastic. I'm taking all of them. Well, I'll leave you this one since you opened it. Yeah, I spilled it all over your sauce. You should. I'm very sorry. But yeah, so come by 3358 Drusilla, and why did you invite me today? By the way,
well, instead of a Foodie Friday, why are you on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Because tomorrow for Foodie Friday, you're not gonna believe what we're doing. We're bringing in one man from a place called Cane River.
Thomas Rock?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, outstanding. Go get the meat pies are delicious. He's still, I want to be a cowboy, Gus. He's supposed to be taking me to Cane River. I'm still waiting for you, T-Rock.
So the phenomenon that is the Natchitoches meat pie is done like no other by Thomas Rock and his family. Is it Mammy's or Mamie's? I've only seen it written.
I say it wrong all the time.
I say Mammy's.
But I'll tell you what,
it's
every person should have a couple of 2-3 dozen in their freezer. And if you got one of the deep freezers like most guys have, get yourself a case. Perfect. Zip them up real quick with every occasion. And they're very good.
Easy. Yeah, order them by the dozen.
Correct.
Keep them in the freezer, and it's the easiest go-to. You pop them in the air fryer. Pop it in the air fryer for 10 minutes and feed the whole family. It's awesome. Anyway.
Air fryer, beautiful thing.
Hey, the gumbo, smoky.
Yes.
You could taste the black pepper specifically.
Keep going.
And the way that dark meat breaks down in shreds, it's smooth. It's buttery. Everything about this gumbo. Yeah. You might have missed your calling by going into Po' Boys.
Well, let me just tell you. Give me a rating. Start up to 5 stars. What would you give it?
I would give that a 5. That's a 5-star chicken.
Thank you. And what about the red beans?
The red beans. The red beans are top notch. They're a 10 out of 10.
This guy here.
Absolutely.
Right. So I do have to give him $100 before I leave every time I come in here. But that was well worth that plug. But you know us, 3358 Drusilla Lane, 248-1999. Been in the business. Making the best po' boy for over 26 years now. In order to make a great New Orleans style po' boy,
you got to be from New Orleans. He's Rocco. We're all done on the air on Facebook Live. Stick around. We're going a couple of extra minutes because there's some things we got to cover.
Come on by, see us.
Moon Griffon's next.
Look for him. He's everywhere.
All right.
I think they call it that.
Yeah. So, no bullshit. That is unbelievable, dude. That is unbelievable gumbo. I freaking love it. But I gotta ask, why chicken and sausage and not a seafood gumbo?
That's on Fridays.
Okay. Because if you want to separate New Orleans from the rest of the Cajun country,
and we have a very good one.
And look,
but we only do it Fridays only.
Okay.
And then we also do a crab bisque, which is very good.
Oh, okay. Really all right, because I like gumbo. I love seafood gumbo. There's a huge difference.
Let me tell you, you want to talk about seafood gumbo? So Jason Bourgeois, Jason. His brother-in-law is Joe Albergambo, not Joe.
I didn't know that.
Yes. His sister and Joe got married 2 weeks ago, I think.
Okay.
So my man called me up. He's like, brother, I need your help. Do you make many muffaladas? I said, well, no, we used to. I said, but, we could do it. I mean, if we had to. And he goes, well, man, look, this is what I'm doing. Joe's getting married. We had these cocktail muffaladas. I said, bro, I got you. So I got with my bread company, ordered some mini muffaladas, a bag of 50. And it just so happened that week we catered the Sacred Heart Women's Retreat for Acts. The director, Jenny Greenup, is a very good friend. As a matter of fact, I met her. I did her house when one of the hurricanes hit. I redid her roof.
Mhm.
That's how we met. And so she goes to Mercy sometimes, but she, you know,
Give me one quick second.
Yeah.
Hunt, you need in here? Okay.
Can Hunt Hunt? Are you
You
hungry,
want to come try
brother?
some gumbo?
Gumbo, red beans. You know
It's
what,
9
Hunt?
o'clock in the morning. You don't want chicken and sausage gumbo?
You know what? When I'm in my truck riding around from construction job, you know who I'm listening to?
I appreciate that.
You know, from now on, I'm gonna listen to Dave Ramsey, man. I'm gonna switch the channel. Which, by the way, look, you drive. I mean, dude, he puts me to something about his voice. No, you can't do that. What you need to do, and he just really criticizes everybody.
Anything else on the station you want to shit on?
No. But I was going to tell you. But the truth, now you see, is I'm always building up to something. Okay, always building up to something. But you gave me 2 books.
I did.
Do you remember what they were?
Total Money Makeover, and I don't remember the other one.
Now, I'm not a voracious reader. Like that word?
It was on your word of the day calendar. Yes.
Okay, so the truth of the matter is, I read those books on the beach.
Okay.
And they are game changers.
Yes.
Okay. And if you really listen to the guy, I say he's opinionated, but I have the entitlement to say whatever I want. I'm an American. Okay. And so I will tell you, if you don't know what you're doing with your money, read those 2 books.
Yes.
If you can't, listen to him when he's on the air, because a lot of times he's not there anymore. It's Jay Warshaw and those
His
2
daughter,
other guys,
his
the
daughter,
daughter and
and then they got,
Georgia. Those
George
guys.
Campbell. George
yeah,
Campbell's
man,
awesome.
that dude's good.
And
the show is so informative, man, and there's a ton of information. If you don't know
Coleman.
anything, 2 of the greatest things you can do for your children is get them to heaven and teach them financial responsibility.
100%.
And the problem with our education system is they don't teach enough about capitalism, free enterprise. Okay?
Agreed.
The universities are funded by these conglomerates, these huge companies, because they want to create worker bees. Figure it out early. Do for yourself. An equal chance to pursue happiness means an equal chance at the crack of the dough. Go do for you and have other people work for you, and then you make all the money.
Cade, you want some of this?
We got food. Come on,
You got a
Cade.
gumbo and a red bean. You can throw it in the microwave.
Come on, man. Get yourself some.
Go reheat it for like 2 minutes. I'll make that lunch. Okay.
I see him at the games like Catholic guy.
There you go.
Watch him on the TV when I get home at night. But by that time, I usually go to bed at 8:30, and so, But look, seriously, I mean, if you can teach them early that knowledge, and the universities teach you a lot of stuff, and you come out of there well-rounded and educated on certain things, but that's where we're failing. Okay? And then this the minimum wage stuff. Okay, let me tell you about the minimum wage. We're paying $15 to $16 an hour to get people to make po' boys. We can't find people.
Right.
Okay? So they want to raise the minimum wage. It should be on a sliding scale. Okay? Because one of the things you have to teach people is that they have to aspire to get to the next step, the next level, and move up. Okay? And if they come in, your first job, how much you were paid an hour? Or you painted your friend Billy's dad's fence. You know what I'm saying?
My first job,
Yeah.
I was paid $20 a day.
Sure.
If I finished in 2 hours,
A lot of
that meant
money back in
right?
1964.
Jesus Christ, 1992.
Whatever.
But my job was
You shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain.
That's true. You're
Go
right.
confess about that.
My job was sorting tomatoes. Okay, the tomatoes come off the truck and they go into 3 different categories to
Different sizes.
Yes.
Different tomatoes.
Whether or
or
not,
different.
yeah, you got the really
the
big
Romas,
ones, the
big ones, the 5x6,
the
7,
5.6s and the 6.6s.
Yes.
The
speak your
biggest
language.
ones would go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
The smaller ones would go to Burger King, and then the Romas would go wherever the hell the Romas went.
Right.
So my job was sorting through them. And you get rid of the rotten ones because they'll make the rest of the batch rotten too. So better to lose 1 tomato out of a crate than the whole damn crate.
Sure.
So that was my job. So I would do this 3 days a week, and I got paid. No, was it $20 or $25 a day? Either way, whatever I made was based off. I made a flat rate. So if I worked fast and I got through, and then like let's say 40 crates were delivered, if I got through them in 2 hours, then I'm making $10 an hour.
Yeah.
But if I screw around and it takes me 4 hours to do it, well, now I'm making less, or I
Yeah.
have less free time. So my very first job, inherently, I learned. Well, that was actually my second job. Anyway, I learned like your time is what is
Right.
of value. Your time and your
It's
skill
your most
set.
precious commodity. Okay, and look, here's the thing too. I went and I used to get in a P-Rog when the water was too low and go to oyster beds and fill sacks of oysters for $13 a sack.
Yeah.
You know, I sold bubble gum to kids in school. I'd buy a pack for like $2 and sell it for $1 a piece and make $6 a bag. You know, you figure it out early and you run with that, man. And like we were talking about, whatever it is that you wanted to do, I always knew I wanted to work for myself. I just always knew it, you know, and it was just a matter of the restaurant being a segue to get to construction and real estate. That's what I always wanted to do. And I learned that early on infomercials. Truthfully, I would see these guys with these programs, and I ordered one set of these books, and it laid out what you need to do, how you need to do it, how you leverage against your own property with a home line of credit to get it started. That's what I did. I took the home equity in my house, got a home equity line of credit, used that money to buy 2 rentals, fixed them up, flipped them, and I kept doing that.
Yeah.
Then I got in a speculative building, and that was fantastic in the years of stated income programs. You know, now the buyer's market's it's shrunk down, you know, and it's because you have to show the documentation with everything. They used to give people loans, Haldane, that you could go to buy a house if it was $350,000 and you're making $40,000 a year and you can't prove the income. All you had to do was form a dummy LLC and say, I got Joe's Catering and I'm making an extra $60,000 a year.
How did we get here?
Because we were talking. Anyway, so because we're talking about the importance of teaching children to be capitalists and financial ability. And Dave Ramsey, and you're like, you're gonna trash one of my. No, I'm not trash. It's just sometimes it's more entertaining to listen to Hunt for sure when you're driving around because you're listening to what I want to listen to, which is sports, you know. And so anyway, but yeah, truth be told, get your kids that financial knowledge and get it early. And some of those books, even if I don't like to read, but I read these. Now, it took me 3 years, but the point is I read them, you know? And so if it's something I want to read, I can sit and read it. But, you know, if it's something I want to take and pay attention to it as I read it, you know, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no. And Dave Ramsey.
Because you have to pay attention.
Dave Ramsey,
what he has.
He's written. But his main thing is, like, the people that need him most are the people who spend their money like it's an addiction.
Yeah.
You have to look at it like you're an addict. And then you build yourself back out with the baby steps. Guys like you and me, like, we don't need all of the baby steps or all those stringent rules because it's not a problem.
Well, a lot of times you learn by your own past financial mistakes.
As he says, pay your stupid
Correct.
tax.
And that's what you do. And, you know, but if I had the knowledge I had now and I'd have learned it, if these people have the opportunity to listen to the show and read these books now and they're younger than we are, just think where they'll be when they're our age. You know, that's the whole deal. And, you know, I mean, the guy's he's a really giving guy. So, you know, look, at the end of the day, you know, just steer them down that track and let them find their way. But we were talking about the minimum wage, and it's significant that you brought up the $20 and me only making $12 a sack of oysters and whatever else when we made money. But a kid that's 15 years old and is getting his first job, he shouldn't be making $15 an hour.
No.
Okay?
No, he
and
should not.
if they make it the minimum wage, that's what's going to happen. I can tell you right now, some of these kids couldn't find their butt with a map and a flashlight, okay? Much less come in there and try to work the line or teach them. They might be able to go wash some dishes and bust tables, you know, but it takes time. And, you know, you have to instill that work ethic in them. And some kids take a lot longer than others. Trust me, you have your own children. Anybody's in this room, you have a young child. You have any kids? There you go. So that's one of those things. But brother, you know, just before I get out of here, everybody know we're going to be on retreat Thursday through Sunday. Throw some prayers up to the big man for us because we got some guys and we're going to battle and we're going to bring them to the foot of the cross, my brother.
Love it.
So,
love it.
And I will see you there. But Rocco's 3358 Drusilla. Give him the other tagline. What's the other one? Remember it?
I'm going to get the wording wrong because it's been forever. No, I know where to start. Hang on. Let me think it through first before I say it out loud because I'm going to stumble if I don't. Stop. I know it.
Do you know it?
Po' Boy's so good. If you put one on top of your head, you'll beat your brains out with your tongue trying to get to it.
That right there is that gospel right there.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.
What is it? The